The following is a special presentation of TNN Motorsports. They don't make days any more perfect than this one. Temperatures in the low 70s with a beautiful breeze blowing. But for the drivers, rarely do you have a perfect day. Many obstacles could await in the MBNA 500. With 6 races to go, time is running out on the 96 championship race. Jeff Gordon has picked up the pace to come within 4 of leader Terry Labonte. Today, he looks for a three-peat at Dover to give his Rainbow Warriors the edge.
Well, they say that the third time is the charm. That's the old saying. Jeff Gordon, I know you want that third victory in a row here, but you got to be concerned about points at this place.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we want to go out there and we want to win our third one in a row here at Dover's, you know, really bad. But we've got to be concerned with points, and we just need to go out there and get a good, consistent run and be there in that last 100 laps, and I think we got a shot at a good top 5.
This is the car that he won the other 2 races at Dover here. The last time Terry Labonte won a points championship was 1984. He thinks it's time for another.
Terry Labonte continues to try to beat the clock. A rare problem at Darlington let his challengers close in, but he got right back on track at Richmond. His last win came back in April, but he's looking for victory lane today.
Terry Labonte qualified as Kellogg Chevrolet in 4th position. He is the points leader. He has never won here at Dover. Terry, the points leader. It's crunch time now. Your thoughts heading into 500 miles at the Monster Mile?
Well, it's a tough racetrack, you know, and it's going to be real important to finish today. We've got to finish the race, hopefully stay in the lead lap, and, you know, if we're running good enough, hopefully got a shot at winning.
Okay, good luck. They say that timing is everything in life, and when Robert Yates timed and paired up Todd Parrott with Dale Jarrett, that was a great time all year.
Could time be on Dale Jarrett's side? He's had a dream season. He sits just 86 points off the lead, but Dover, Delaware has been a monster to Jarrett. He hasn't finished here in 11 of 19 races. Today, he looks to turn all of that around.
Well, Dale Jarrett, you're only 86 points behind, but it's time for you to make a charge to the front.
Yeah, this is an important race, definitely. I think history has shown that the guy that's the champion at the end of the year did well here, especially in this second race at Dover. So we've got to have a good day here, and I think that definitely we can do that. The car's pretty good right now if we can just stay out of trouble.
Dale Jarrett thinks it's time for him to have some good luck at Dover, Eli.
Could well be, Glenn. And hi, everybody. I'm Eli Gold. Welcome to the Monster Mile. And Dr. Dick Bergman, great to have you back with us here on TNN. You know, for those 3 fellas, obviously a lot on the line, but so too for many others today.
This is very much a pivotal race, Eli, no question about it. It's a time to shuffle the deck. There are only 7 races left, including today's event. It's a long race. The record here is just under 4 hours. That's a lot of time to make a mistake. If you have a great race today with only 6 behind you, well, there's not a lot of time for the other guys to catch up if you have a good day.
And as they fire the engines, Buddy Baker, let's talk tire wear. Goodyear's brought a great tire here, but it's more than just the rubber meeting the road, isn't it?
It is. They're asking so much out of this tire. It has to get so much grip in the corner. They mess with the tire pressure, trying to get it to grip even better. It's wearing out in 60 to 80 laps, so look out today for that.
It's a beautiful day. We're glad you're with us. Inviting you to stay tuned. The MBNA 500 coming up next to kick off a busy Motorsports Day here on TNN.
Today's coverage of the MBNA 500, presented by Gladiator Vans on TNN, is brought to you by Texaco Clean System 3 Gasolines. Add more life to your car. Take it to the star. By the more than 1,425 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. By the Miller Brewing Company, proud sponsor of the Miller Racing Team. We race for beer. And by Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more champions trust.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Monster Mile, Dover Downs in Delaware. Today's Sears Die Hard starting grid brought to you by the Die Hard battery, now with more power when you need it. There is Bobby Labonte earning a Busch pole for the 1996 campaign. 4th career Busch pole, joining Rick Mast on the front row, who was the pole winner here a year ago. Jeff Gordon, his 14th top 5 start of 1996, and Terry Labonte, his 12th top 5 start. Jeff Bodine, his 14th Dover race, starting in the top 5, and Rusty Wallace, who runs this racetrack well. Veteran Dick Trickle and Mark Martin, one of those looking for his first win of the year. Big day for Mr. Jarrett. If he can pull off a victory, tighten up the point race. John Andretti aboard his new ride. Hutch Strickland, he's done well here over the years, and Kenny Schrader's last win came here years ago. Morgan Shepherd and Ricky Rudd. Rudd trying to extend that winning streak of his now to 14 years in succession. Derek Cope and the Truck Series stand out. Mike Skinner there in row number 8. Row number 9, Ted Musgrave and Kenny Wallace, the man who comes from a Busch Series win in Richmond a week ago. Ernie Irvin and Dale Earnhardt, who's outside of row number 10. We'll visit with Dale later in our telecast today. Lake Speed and Ricky Craven sharing row number 11. The 12th row, Michael Waltrip, who's run well here in the Busch Series, and Kyle Petty looking for a top 10 finish here in 1996. Wally Dallenbach and Sterling Marlin share the 13th row. Row number 14, Bill Elliott. Got a great ovation from the fans here. They always love him up here in Dover, with Robert Presley outside of row number 14. Jeff Burton and Johnny Benson. Johnny had a super run in Richmond a week ago. Row number 16, Chad Little and Chelsea, Alabama's Gary Bradbury. The 17th starting row, there's Ward Burton and Bobby Hillen from Midland, Texas. Row number 18, Joe Nemechek. And in his new ride, Jeremy Mayfield. He swapped a week ago with John Andretti. Row 19, Brett Bodine and Dave Marcus. Then the provisional starters, Jimmy Spencer, Bobby Hamilton, who finished second here a season ago, and Darrell Waltrip bringing up the rear alone in row number 21. Now the AutoZone race analysis, brought to you by the more than 1,425 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts, and there you see the story for the 54th NASCAR Winston Cup race here. That racetrack, 1 mile around. The turns are banked 24 degrees. The straightaways are 9 degrees each, and those straights are 1,076 feet long. There's a panoramic look at this Monster Mile. Now on board with Mark Martin. The Valvoline team will be taking us around this racetrack as he works the back straightaway. You see on the right there, that enclosed grandstand? That is the area where the horse racing fans reside. Inside of the racetrack, the super speedway, is a horse track, and that's the back stretch for the Winston Cup teams. And there's John Andretti. And you see we'll be riding and listening in to the RCA race team here today. Now at the beginning of the race, field coming to the green. We'll be showing you both the overall look at the field, plus we'll also zero in the corner of your screen at those teams taking the green near the front of the field. So we'll give you 2 views of the start at the same time. As we're glad you're with us. The MBNA 500 laps around the Dover Downs International Speedway, and here we go. Green is in the air. Watching the leaders in that insert and the rest of the field on the left of your screen. Quickly, we are 1 mile complete, 4:99 to go. It doesn't take long to get around this racetrack, Dick Bergman.
No, it's around 23-second qualifying laps, Eli. A little bit slower than that during the race. But I'll tell you what, when you're right down like you are in this shot here, and you watch these cars go around, it's just like an amusement car ride. It is so lightning fast.
Eli, with this in-car camera, as you can see as they started through the corner, the black part of that racetrack, you see how narrow that is. That's the only part of the racetrack they use here. That white part up there is dust and a lot of debris on the high side up there. You get up in that, you spin right out. So this is the usable part of this racetrack that you're looking at right now.
There's the battle for the lead now as Bobby Labonte and his brother Terry Labonte square off and give Texas Terry the top spot.
And thank you for the 5 points, his brother just said.
Every time you lead a lap in NASCAR Winston Cup racing, for those of you who are new to the sport, you get 5 bonus points. If you lead any lap, you get 5 bonus points. Now, down the back straightaway, some problems as spinning is the Cartoon Network entry.
That's Chad Little. As you see him, he's got a lot of impact on the front and back of that car. It's really used up.
And caution will be coming out on lap number 5. Chad Little with problems right off the bat. You can see him moving around there inside the car.
That's a good thing. He did a hard hit back there. The car is really trashed.
Oh, and here comes Jeff Burton now, the Exide Ford, also caught up in that exchange. So caution is on the speedway for the first time. We'll take a look again at what happened at the tail end of this exchange here. Bam to the inside, and there came, right off the wall, and there was Jeff Burton trying to get by. And you brought a good point up here yesterday, Buddy Baker, but for those who weren't with us on the telecast of the MBNA 200, it's worthy of a repeat about how it is that everybody ends up on the inside wall after you have a problem spinning off that number 2 corner, just like we see with Chad.
Well, you can see the straightaway here is backed as much as some of the turns in some of the racetracks that we go to. So when you spin, you go directly into the inside wall. And it really is a good thing in one respect, is you don't get into wrecks because you go back across the racetrack. You go into the inside wall and you stay there.
So that's the story on the back straightaway, as Chad Little now obviously okay, disappointed. His day is done. 495 miles from the finish. Welcome back, everybody, from high above. The Monster Mile, as you see, not a seat to be had anywhere around this racetrack, which not that many years ago, he had all sorts of empty seats. It's amazing where this track and the sport has gone to. Taking a look at the Texaco point standings update, brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil, controls volatility and fights vaporization. There you see Terry Labonte. Now you have to add to that total now 5 more points. Terry is at 35-47 now because he has already led a lap and picked up 5 bonus points for the day. So there you see the spread now among the top 5 as the Texaco point standings are brought your way here early on this Sunday afternoon. Involved in that little accident, in addition to Chad Little, Jeff Burton, Robert Presley had a piece of it. Also, Randy Pemberton of note. You know that Jeff Burton and Ricky Rudd, the only 2 guys to have had no DNFs all season long. He's got to get back out there to keep that streak going, Burton does.
I think he'll do it, Eli. Speaking of Ricky Rudd, 33 straight Rudd has finished, and Jeff Burton was on that path himself. He'll finish this race, but he is absolutely ticked, and I can understand. Tore up a pretty good race car.
Well, we had a real good race car. This thing, based off yesterday, got a chance to win the race, and I don't mind wrecking 10 laps or whatever it is into the race because, somebody's trying too hard. Doesn't make a lot of sense. It just got out of the groove and wasn't anywhere to go. I saw it coming and tried to get slowed down, and it was nowhere to go, but I don't know. We'll do the best we can do and get back out. It's a shame for Exide and for everybody because we really had a good race car.
That's a tough break for Jeff Burton, coming off a great finish last weekend at Richmond.
There you see Dale Earnhardt, who works around under the caution right now, running in 19th position. This weekend, Glenn Jarrett had a chance to sit down with Dale Earnhardt and talk to him about his injuries and his thoughts on a potential championship in '96.
Well, Dale, since your accident at Talladega, starting with that race, things haven't gone exactly the way you would like for them to go, to say the least. What we want to know is, first of all, how are you doing physically?
Well, I'm getting better all the time. I think I'm just about back to 100%. You know how you get hurt up in a race car and you sort of driving, it just heals slow, but I'm coming back. I'm about 100%, a little soreness once in a while, but no big deal, really.
You fooled everybody at Watkins Glen. You qualified the car on the pole and took off there, ran competitively all the race, but people didn't really think you would stay in the car all day. Do you think, looking back now, that maybe you pushed yourself a little too hard too early?
Well, I think we did from the start, really. We didn't stop doing anything. We kept doing all our appearances, and we stayed in the car at Watkins Glen and did Bristol and some other Michigan, everywhere, really. And it was just a little tougher to heal over it. And It took a while, but now I'm getting back to it. But I can't blame the injuries on Bristol and Darlington's finishes. That was really a tough day for us, and just really disappointed in those races. And then Richmond, we knocked the front end out on it early in the race and fought it all night. And just had some bad races there I can't explain. We just got to rebound and get back into it.
Dale, that brings me to the next question. I have watched your career, everybody has over the years, and marveled at the way that you have avoided injury and pretty much avoided trouble on the racetrack. And it looks like that maybe several years of debts are being paid back. If you look at it in that way, it just seems like that when those things start happening, then it's a landslide of things.
Well, it has been, and you can't do anything but keep coming back and fighting it and working harder to try to overcome it, and it'll turn around for us. It's just it might be this race. I don't know. I hope it is. It's time, but it's been tough for us, and the team's still positive. I went up and seen the team this week, and everybody's still positive and fired up. We can come out and win some races and win this championship yet. It's not over.
Thoughts of Dale Earnhardt. We'll be hearing more from that injury update and all a bit later on in our telecast, but there you see what's happened in his last run, going from 12 behind Terry to 218 behind Terry, as Dale is now in his 7th week of recovery. But Buddy Baker, you race car driver types are just a stubborn bunch. I mean, nobody wants to get out. Same thing with any athlete. I don't care. Look at how hard Brett Butler has worked to battle back from cancer and return to the Los Angeles Dodger lineup. Athletes just don't want to sit on the sidelines.
You know, the great ones like Dale Earnhardt, they learn to play hurt. And he was out of a race car only one time in his whole career that I remember, when he was running for Rod Osterlund. He got hurt at Pocono, and he set out a couple of races. David Pearson sailed in for him and was lucky enough to win at Darlington for him. And since that day, Dale Earnhardt has been in every time that 3 cars out there, Dale Earnhardt's in it. And he's just a tough guy, and right now everybody's speculating, well, he should have got out and made sure he was well. He's doing what he does best, and I'm sure that Dale Earnhardt did what he thought was right. And let's not speculate on somebody that good at what he done. I think he filled in. He did the best job he possibly could, and the only other time he got out in Indianapolis, and what happened, Skinner run like 15th, and I'm sure that Earnhardt would have, if he'd have run that race, would have been that close up.
Good observation as we work the caution. The first of the afternoon came out at lap number 5 when Chad Little and Jeff Burton had problems. Cleanup is continuing. We'll be right back. We are with you at the Monster Mile, and hopefully if you're listening and watching to this telecast, you might want to log on to your computer. www.nascar.com. That's NASCAR Online. Scoring updates, all the information from here, from other NASCAR Touring Series. If you're on the internet, you want to be tuned in with other NASCAR fans on NASCAR Online at www.nascar.com. Well, that's a piece of car in the wall. That's basically, you wonder how fast these guys go here. I mean, you're doing 150 plus, closer to 175 on the straightaways. If a piece of debris comes off the car, you don't know where it's going, and that one has embedded itself into, as you can clearly see, the base of the wall. And although it's not truly the racing groove, it certainly could be easily enough, guys. And let's take a look again at the accident. Let's see if we can pick up that errant piece of debris, and they just can't get it loose from the base of the wall. Let's look again.
That's well underway here. He's already nailed the outside wall. Chad almost got that car over. He hits the inside wall really hard in the number 29. Burton on the inside of him in that purple and black car. Ward Burton on the top side in the 22 car, barely squeaking by. He's been in the pits a couple times since this. Didn't see any damage on his car, but he has been in a couple of times.
And tough to tell which of those projectiles ended up at the base of the wall, but or maybe something else. Robert Presley was involved. We showed you there. Burton was involved. Both the Burton brothers. But something, and actually it's far enough behind where Chad was that it likely wasn't off of his car, but you never know.
As flat as the 33 car of Robert Presley is on the side, I would have to say that it was probably the 33 car that got up there. It might be a piece of a wheel. I wouldn't even speculate as to what it is, but I do know one thing. I'd be using a hammer instead of my hands up there on that piece of metal.
There's Robert Presley, who's been on the pit lane for the last while. Meanwhile, Monty Hall is not here. But Glenn Jarrett, I think you've been watching a little let's make a deal down there on pit road, huh?
Well, it's Dover, Eli, and we're always making deals, particularly on tires where tire wear is a primary consideration. As usual here, we've got an abrasive concrete surface. It wears the tires out quicker. These are Jeff Gordon's tires. Now, there's 10 sets here. There's another set of new tires in the pit area. All these are new tires, no scuffs. When the 29 car Chad Little wrecked, immediately people from Hendrick's organization went to try to get some of those tires, and they did. They got about a third of the tires that was allocated to Chad Little, so they're in good shape tire-wise. Let's look at it this way. There's 10 sets, one there in the pits. If they got 5 more, 16 sets of tires. They should be in good shape for the rest of the day. Here's Randy Pemberton.
Well, Robert Presley back in the pits. This is his 8th stop under this caution. Of course, he was involved in that wreck with Jeff Burton over there. The problem that they have specifically is it has knocked the right side in a little bit and knocked the crush panels out. And that is a major problem with heat and fumes later on in the day. After 500 miles and 4 hours and 15 minutes, Robert Presley is definitely going to be feeling it. That's one of the concerns of these drivers here in the Winston Cup Series, and that is getting these crush panels knocked out.
So that's a story to continue to watch as our afternoon continues. We are just 15 laps in. They are still trying to remove that piece of metal from the base of the wall out there coming out of turn number 2. Hence, we are not going back to green, and we'll continue to update you. But right now, we do break away as Terry Labonte leads with his brother Bobby Labonte in second under caution here at the Monster Mile. Here they come to the green flag. They have removed that metal from the base of the wall on the back straightaway, and we are back racing here at Dover Downs International Speedway.
You saw Earnhardt there on the outside. I think Earnhardt's back to about 90% now. You could see him making a move on the outside there. He's passing cars where everybody says you can't pass them in the second lane. And that car is really working well right now, but it's very early. The tires haven't had a chance to get hot and start losing grip.
Dale's up to 14th spot right now, having bypassed Rudd and Shepard there on the restart.
They changed his car a good deal this morning based on yesterday's Grand National race here. They changed for second spot here. Gordon just got around Labonte. Earnhardt's guys changed 2 springs, the camber, the wedge in the car based on what they saw yesterday. Gordon is coming yet again.
Of course, no rush here as we've documented. This is a race that takes its while as Dale makes the move around Hut Strickland, moving up into the 13th spot now. Closing in on Mike Skinner, Earnhardt is.
That's his teammate. That's Richard Childress' car also, the 31 there, the real tree car that you see going down in the corner. And he's running very well for the amount of time he's had in the Winston Cup car. I think Mike Skinner's doing a great job.
So is Earnhardt.
Yeah, definitely.
Boy, is he going, and does he know? Look at Earnhardt again on the outside, where you're not supposed to go if you're going to pass.
Dale Jarrett gets the position against Kenny Schrader, just ahead of Earnhardt now. That was a swap for 10th and 11th. All afternoon long, we'll be running that crawl across the top of the screen. You see it here on TNN. We give you the updates as this race continues, so you'll constantly know where your favorite driver is running. At the front, it is nose to tail. Terry Labonte ahead of Jeff Gordon, though Gordon is just riding. That's why we're staying with you here back at 10th spot. There's a quick look at the lead. It has dropped back to about a car length, as you see there. Jeff Gordon here in June led 307 laps as Mark Martin now grabs the spot away from Rusty Wallace. That'll be 5th and 6th position.
The 7 car there, that's Bodine. He's running a very good race today. Jeff Bodine has really picked up the intensity in the past 3 or 4 races, Eli.
We saw the new paint scheme there for Rusty Wallace, that silver color, in honor of the anniversary of Miller Motorsports involvement as Bodine goes around him. Rusty debuted those colors last week in Richmond, Virginia.
Bodine seemed to have picked up an awful lot after his victory at Watkins Glen, Eli, didn't he? He was just having a really mediocre season, and then once that happened, the team all came together. He says the biggest improvement is himself, that he's really got his head on straight. He's back into racing again as he was in 1994 when he won 3 times, and he is running very well here this afternoon.
Joe Waltrip comes down pit road. You got a glimpse of him right there. DW will pit at lap number 25.
Eli, these are great pictures from John Andretti's in-car camera. You can see as they come off the corner there, the 2-car of Rusty Wallace was dancing just a little bit, very light coming out of the corner. I'm sure they're going to adjust on these cars as they stop for the first time, but right now, everybody's beginning to feel what the chassis is starting to do now.
The front two are now 1 3/10 seconds ahead of Rick Mast in third, as you see Earnhardt now grabbing 10th away from Dale Jarrett in the 88 machine. Just underway. We are still early, as you see, 474 laps to go of the 500. We're glad you're with us here on TNN Motorsports. NHRA Winston Drag Racing from Reading, Pennsylvania follows us today. They get Rusty Wallace backsliding just a tad as Andretti closes it on him now and tries to pass him for the 7th spot. What's the deal there, Glenn Jarrett?
Well, Eli, Rusty's car has picked up a severe push. They're awfully concerned about it because, as we saw yesterday, tire wear on the right front is of utmost importance. And when the car is pushing, that's the one that it wears out. So he's got a real problem with the car. They're just having to back off, take it easy, try not to build that pressure up on that right front, save it as long as he can so they can get in here and make an adjustment on it.
And now back up front, it's clearly tightened again for Jeff Gordon, who, as we said, led 307 laps here in June en route to the win. Terry Labonte took the lead at lap number 4. And if you're just tuning in, both Chad Little and Jeff Burton, who were involved in that accident, back at lap number 5, done for the day. Earnhardt, Jarrett, Irvin, all getting around the number 90. Dick Trickle driving for Jimmy Donlevy. That's 12th spot right there.
I think somebody must have slapped Earnhardt right before this race. I mean, he is on the go here. He's driving like he wants to lead the next lap around here. He's really doing a great job.
Meanwhile, Bobby Labonte has just lost a spot to Mark Martin, who is on the move. There you see Martin in the Valvoline colors just ahead of Bobby Labonte, our Busch Pole sitter who led the first 3 laps here today. And there's a great view. You see that black area on the racetrack? That's your racing groove. The other stuff, what do you call it? What do you say? What is that?
That's
like
scenery.
Huh?
That's exactly
scenery.
what it is. That's like a frame on a picture.
Well, you talk about that groove being much faster than upstairs. Yesterday I went out on this racetrack on my hands and knees and tried to figure out why. And maybe the answer is that the concrete is actually a little bit different down there low where it's all black. You take your hand and run up and down that thing, and the tires have worn it just ever so slightly more smooth than upstairs. So the drivers all like it downstairs. They run down there for a little while, throw debris upstairs, and upstairs becomes a no man's land.
Far too much time on his hands, Eli.
They were going to sell tickets for the Bergman crawl there. You see Earnhardt closing in and now bypassing Rusty. Can Ernie get by? No, Ernie Irvin tried there in the 28, but he's going to have a chance, one expects. Earnhardt now up to the 8th spot.
Crowd is going nuts, and they are all watching Earnhardt soldier his way through this field.
This is like Randy LaJoie's great run yesterday in the FINA car, coming from, what, 25th, scrambling his way to the front. 34 laps complete. The lead still in the hands of Terry Labonte. There you see the margin he has on Jeff Gordon. We're just underway as Robin Pemberton looks on, a little concerned.
Today's coverage of the MBNA 500, presented by Gladiator Vans on TNN, is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And by Tangy Heinz 57 Steak Sauce. Let's eat.
You're riding with one of the fastest men on the racetrack right now. Mark Martin is beginning to chase down the race leaders. Meanwhile, up front, a battle for the lead as Jeff Gordon tries the move on his corporate teammate and makes the pass on Terry Labonte. So Jeff Gordon, when he comes around, will pick up 5 bonus points to lead a lap. And that will negate the bonus points that Mr. Labonte picked up a few moments ago. So they'll be back to within 4 markers of one another again. Gordon led 400 laps in last year's win. We told you 307 he led here in June. The fact that he's gone to the front, no surprise. Not at all. Nothing that fella does surprises me anymore. You see where they spoke? He and that man, Ray Evernham, they spoke at Princeton University on Thursday. Spoke to an engineering class and stayed there for 90 minutes and talked all sorts of aerodynamics. And it was a great experience for them.
Professor Evernham,
exactly.
that, if you will. And Professor Gordon as well. And they said the students had a great time, but I think the people who had the most fun were Gordon and Evernham. One of the reasons is Evernham's hero is Albert Einstein, who's a Princeton guy.
You see Earnhardt here, he was on a blistering pace, but he's kind of dropped off now. Ernie Irvan got by him and has stretched out some 200 yards on him now. I think Earnhardt may have used his tires up now, and he's just riding until the first pit stop.
We're at 44 laps on the board right now. Tire wear, again, a story stressing that Goodyear brought a very good tire here as we watch Kyle Petty and Ken Schrader scramble for 12th spot. And Kyle's got that one now. Kyle's still looking for his first top 10 of the year.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah, really is remarkable that, you know, he's run well here. We all remember that run here a season ago when he and Barry Dodson got together for that convincing victory here at Dover Downs. Ricky Rudd now trying to challenge against Kenny Schrader. Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett. That's an ongoing battle now as Jarrett will grab 9th away from Dale Earnhardt. Randy's got an update from pit road.
Well, talking about Dale Earnhardt, all of these guys hope to build in as many adjustments on these cars as they can possibly make during an afternoon. Dale Earnhardt's team is one of them. He is talking about letting simply a half a pound of air out of the right rear on the next stop and adding a little wedge. Talking about adjustments, you're going to see a lot of what we call spring rubbers in these cars and out of these cars all day as the sun pops in and the sun pops back out. So Dale Earnhardt already looking to make some adjustments. He's backed off his pace. He's hoping to catch a caution here shortly, as are all of these guys, wanting to take a look at these tires before they run hard the next green flag run.
And Randy, it seems as though at this racetrack you've got a different reaction for concrete versus asphalt when you've got the sun and the clouds. It's not like a normal racetrack, is it?
No, it sure isn't, Eli. As a matter of fact, talking to some of these crew chiefs, it is exactly different than asphalt. Usually when the sun pops out at an asphalt racetrack, the cars will tend to loosen up. That means the rear end of the car wants to come around. When the sun goes behind the clouds on an asphalt track, it'll tighten up. It is exactly the opposite here on the concrete. Therefore, the crew chiefs and teams have to rethink their adjustments on these cars as they get ready for 500 miles.
Oh, an interesting bit of race strategy that has to be played out on this type of a racing surface. We're 49 laps in. You're looking at Ted Musgrave running in the 14th spot right now, while Jeff Gordon, once he got by Terry Labonte, has taken off with Gary Dehart looking on. The Duralube aerial camera high overhead, the Monster Mile, giving us these great views of Jeff Gordon, who is now working at lap number 56, coming to lap number 57. And of course, that is the Heinz charity lap. The folks at Heinz donating $1,000 to the favorite charity of the driver leading at the end of the 57th lap. And Jeff Gordon now coming to the stripe as 57 goes up on the board. The Heinz charity lap brought to you by Tangy Heinz 57 steak sauce. Let's eat.
It's a good idea.
Why not? Somewhere, someplace, someone is at the refrigerator right now joining us here on TNN Motorsports. Around
Dick Trickle.
Problems. Dick Trickle about took down the house.
He did that.
Yeah, and right in front of the leader at that. Trickle lost a tire yesterday at the Grand National race, hammered the wall hard, almost got it again today.
And he's settling himself down right now as much as anything else, I bet you.
Wonder what his heart rate is.
Man. There goes Rick Mast bypassing him. Jimmy Spencer running in 30th, about to go a lap down.
Eli, these are fast race cars that are going a lap down right now. Trickle started up in the top 10. Right now, he's already a lap down. Several of the good running race cars are going down because of Jeff Gordon running so well through this whole segment here.
Watch Trickle ahead of Spencer right there.
Oh, he got a little help there.
And there came the leader right by. The aerial camera never lies. There goes Jimmy Spencer a lap down now.
He didn't want that to happen.
Spencer now working through the corner. Couldn't quite keep up with Jeff Gordon. But he does act as the bumper right here between Gordon and Terry Labonte.
I'll tell you what, Eli, they're all going to have a hard time keeping up with Gordon today. This car may look familiar for more than just its very familiar paint job. This is blacker. This is the same car that won 2 races here. The last race, the one here in the spring, and this race in the fall of last year. Also won Rockingham. This is the one that won the trifecta at Darlington, won the pole at Indy, pole at Charlotte. This is a whopper of a great race car.
It is, but of course you got to add too that Jeff Gordon also has 5 DNFs, did not finishes on super speedways this year, of which this is one. So, you know, there's all sorts of ways to look at things, but you're right. That team is just so good.
See Ricky Craven there in the 41. He's quite there's a whole bunch of rumors going along. We're going to talk about that later on in the broadcast. Ricky Craven being one of them that's in the rumor mill that I think they may be teammates next year.
You saw
Jeff Gordon.
Right. You saw the relationship there. There's Jeff Gordon in the 24. Terry Labonte behind him, about a second behind. And that translates to the spread you'll see here as they work from their Gordon to their Terry Labonte. Of course, on a super speedway like Talladega or Daytona, 1 second equals 100 yards on the racetrack. There's Ernie Irvan. He's making his way closer to the front now. He's running, as you see, in 7th. He's gained over 1 second, Ernie has, in the last 4 laps, as opposed to the race leaders.
Little deja vu of last week, Eli, coming out in the back.
There goes Mark Martin getting around the lap machine at Spencer. He's caught Rick Mast, who started outside of the front row.
Rick's running a very conservative race. I think right now he's conserving his tires. You see how nice and clean he's running through the corner. Rick Mast gets around this racetrack quite well. He's won Busch Grand National races here, and you see Mark Martin go by. He didn't even contest him. He's running his own race right now.
So Mark now up to the 3rd position, driving for Roush. We're trying to pick up a victory here that would finally get in the victory lane in 96. What kind of odds could you have gotten at September the 15th? Mark Martin still be searching for victory lane.
Well, what sort of odds that none of the Roush cars would have won? A 3-car stable, very good cars. They've had a terrific finishing record, despite what we saw with Burton today dropping out. That's just his first DNF. Musgrave's only had 1. No wins out of all 3 cars. Hard to imagine.
And of course, no wins here at Dover, period. Mark Martin's never won here. Nor has Terry Labonte, nor has Bobby Labonte, nor has Dale Jarrett, nor has Ernie Irvan. Sterling has never won here. A lot of big-time names that have a ton of second-place finishes here, but they have never won at the Monster Mile in Winston Cup racing.
Mark's got 3 second-place finishes and no wins.
Coming up to lap 68, indications are we may be seeing a caution flag before too much longer to let everybody take a good look at their Goodyear Racing Eagles. And again, Goodyear's bought a great tire here, but the adhesion to this concrete racetrack is just so very strong as Bobby Hillen contests with Jeff Gordon right there. Hillen running in 28th, trying to stay on the lead lap. Lap number 69. Hillen a little squirrely there, and Jeff Gordon not to go. Here comes the caution now. This is a NASCAR caution. There is nothing wrong on the racetrack. But in light of some of the tire wear we saw here yesterday on the right front tires, NASCAR decides to just take a look and let everybody eyeball the racing rubber and see exactly what kind of wear they're getting.
It's a really good idea doing this. They didn't mention it in the drivers' meeting. The drivers didn't know before they started this race as a result that this was going to happen. What we have really seen with tires is that the fastest setup is not necessary. Wow, look at the debris.
Look at the grill. You see the front grill there of Jeff Gordon?
Loaded.
Not to mention that streamer he has on the front of the hood also. That is not original equipment on a Monte Carlo.
That's all our hot dog wrapper.
Yeah, we had that problem here, remember, back in June, guys. But there's some of that rubber you see on the front of Terry Labonte's car. If the rubber's coming off the tires, like you say, it's going somewhere. And that's what they're really going to do, take those steel brushes and clean off those grills to get some airflow into the engine compartment. So here come the lead machines. Lap number 71 will be these pit stops here. You don't have to stop, obviously. It's not a mandatory thing, but most obviously everybody will. But just so you'll know the rules, when NASCAR throws the caution, you can do what you'd like. Randy Pemberton has the update first from Ernie's pit.
Well, Ernie Irvin on the bottom of your screen, you are not going to see any two-tire stops here this afternoon at Dover. I can assure you they're going to add one round of bite. That's the only adjustment they've made on the Haviland Ford. Left side tires going on. Glenn Jarrett.
Smith, he is getting 4 tires as well, Randy. His car, he's reporting he's a little loose. He gets out first. Mark Martin second. Terry Labonte. All the other guys, Bobby Labonte, Terry Labonte, Rick Mast, Jeff Bodine, Dale Jarrett, all reporting that their cars were tight. Dale Jarrett also had a little bit of an oil temperature problem. He was running up about 230. I imagine it came from the clogged up grills. They cleaned them all as well. There's a lot of rubber on the front of those race cars.
So caution now as those machines that are a lap down will make their stops. 71 laps on the board as we are in the midst of stops. We'll check those tires in a moment.
Brought to you by Gladiator and Universal Luxury Vans, the official vans of tracks, teams, and drivers throughout the NASCAR world. Call 1-800-445-2825 for a dealer near you.
The Duralube aerial camera high above the Monster Mile here at Dover Downs. You see inside the super speedway, that gray oval, that's the horse track. There's the NASCAR Winston Cup garage there in the middle of the screen, the Busch Series garage at the other end of the racetrack. Hey, quick reminder, folks, to race on in to the all-new and official store of NASCAR. You can visit NASCAR Thunder, of course, now open at their original location, the Gwinnett Place Mall in Atlanta, Georgia. Also now the Haynes Mall in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And pretty soon they'll be opening up at the Westtown Mall in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's coming up in late September. So check it out, NASCAR Thunder, the official store of NASCAR. Look for one opening in your area real soon. All right, Glenn Jarrett, how do those tires look down there?
Well, Eli, there's varying degrees of wear on the tires, which we expected to see depending on exactly how the chassis is set up. A lot of guys having some problems, again, with the right front. That's what they're worried about. We talked on yesterday's telecast about the camber in the right front tire. Let me show you exactly what we're talking about. Now, this is a tire. If you were looking at it from the front of the race car, they preload the tire. They preset the tire leaning like this, leaning in at the top, so that when the car goes in the corner at full speed and the weight transfers from the left rear up to the right front, it straightens the tire up in the middle of the corner to run on as much of the tire patch as possible. They want to run on this area right in here. They don't want to get on the outside. Now, once they do that, when they come off the corner, the tire stands back up. And the problem they're having here is with that preset position, it's wearing the tires out right in here. Dale Jarrett came in, the cords were showing through on his. It had worn all the way through. So they really have to be careful. That's why we keep pressing the point about how they have to take care of those tires, Eli.
And camber is the operative term there, Buddy Baker.
Exactly right. When you put camber in it, it runs on the inside shoulder, and it wears quite a bit getting down in the corner and coming out, so it'll burn the inside of the tire up is what it amounts to.
Good explanation there from Glenn. That kind of brought it very, very clearly, hopefully, to you folks at home, as not everybody is well versed on every element of the sport, and we appreciate that explanation. Green is in the air. Joe Nemechek trying to get a lap back if he can. Does for the moment. Mark Martin going for the lead. Got it. Mark Martin just blew right by Jeff Gordon and took the top spot. Meanwhile, Joe Nemechek is on the tail end of the lead lap now. So Mark Martin taking over the lead here at lap number 77. First, Mark has led many a race this year. Most recently at Richmond, where he led a lap a week ago, but still looking for that victory.
There goes Terry Labonte trying Jeff Gordon on the inside and going by him quite easily. Right now it's kind of a mirror image. These two cars are racing each other for the national championship. They're also racing to win here at Dover.
77 laps on the board. Dale Earnhardt, he's back in 14th spot. Randy, what did Earnhardt's tires look like?
Well, the biggest problem for them is not the push, so therefore knocking down and off the right front. It's the right rear. It has significant wear, but it is all the way across. They can live with it. They say they can possibly run as far as 65 laps, but they don't want to go any further than that. I also checked with the 28 car. Those guys feel that it's their right front, and they don't want to run 70 laps absolute maximum, says Larry McReynolds, and they do have a little bit of a problem with their right front.
Well, Earnhardt had set that car up today deliberately to try to wear the right rear tire more than the right front tire. When the cars are pushing, that's what's really the problem with the right front. If you get the car a little bit loose, as they have dialed Earnhardt's car in to be just a little bit loose, then you save the right front tire and you can still be fast. But that's the key.
You're looking at 3rd, 4th, and 5th right there.
Boy, Ernie Irvan has that car flying. You see him trying to get under Bobby Labonte as they come down the front straightaway here. That car is just going anywhere he wants it to go. You see Bobby move out of the way and say, go ahead.
Interestingly, on our telecast last week from New Hampshire for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, Larry McReynolds, Ernie's crew chief, is with us and was afraid that with the new rules going into effect, that the Fords would be terribly loose and unmanageable.
How many crew chiefs have you ever heard that are happy after a rule change? Nobody. Wow. Is Jeff Gordon off the pace that much, or is the 28 car running that well?
I think Ernie's running well, but here goes Bobby Labonte.
Now, don't forget, we just had a round of pit stops here, so it's a new set of tires, and I'm sure everybody's changed air pressure a little bit, and Gordon's just not quite up to full song yet. Derek Cope in that 12 car going the other way.
He's one lap down, but running with the lead pack right now, and that's going to be so frustrating when you're already in 30th, you're a lap down, and all of a sudden you get tires, you make a chassis change, and you hang with everybody, but you can't get your lap back.
Yeah, now Spotter's up there going, now if you get a chance, get back in the lead lap, like he don't know that already.
Yeah. 82 laps on the board of 500. We have had 2 caution flags, and Mark Martin shows the way in the early stages of the MBNA 500.
Trouble in
turn number 2. We'll check those new rules for you in just a second as you see some of the rule changes. But there's Hutch Strickland, who was running in 22nd. He was on pit road for a lengthy time a short while ago, but then came back out and tags the wall. And Randy, you were keeping an eye down on pit road.
Well, he kept coming over the radio and talking to his guy saying, I've got a problem with the rear end locking up. I think I've only got one wheel trying to give me any power. So that might have been the problem. Whether or not it totally locked up on him, it's difficult to say. They're getting ready to come down pit road, a few of these guys. The 28 team's getting ready. At least they're going to take a look. There's a possibility they're going to pit.
Let's take another look at what happened there to Hutch Strickland over there in turn number 2, and we'll get back to those rule changes in a minute. Now, just as they were going beneath that crossover bridge, tough to tell exactly what sent him going.
They were doing a lot of work in the right front corner of that car when Hutt was in the last time around, which of course isn't the rear end at all. Would have nothing to do with that, but they may still have been looking for the problem. This is the same car that led 143 laps at the Southern 500, their best car. They loved it. Yeah, they bent it today.
Let's see who will be coming down the pit lane here. You heard the fellows say that there are some preparations, but at this moment, pit road does not have any visitors, with the exception of, you see, Darrell Waltrip. Let's bring you the AutoZone Tech Fact now, brought to you by the more than 1,425 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone is the best parts in auto parts, and that's what we were trying to show you just as Hutt hit the wall. Some of the new rules that were issued by NASCAR in a technical bulletin this past week, effective here today. And you know, buddy, we look at that and the folks can see for themselves, but the bottom line is some like it, some don't, and it's a tough call for NASCAR, but they consistently try and keep that competition in the playing field level. That's what you see the manufacturer points looking like. In the first 12 races, Chevy with 8 wins to 4 for Ford. It's swapped around in the next group. And then the third, the final leg of this season now unfolding. So certainly as far as parity, It's there, strictly going across to the numbers.
But you look right up in the front. It's the same guys up front every week. The cream rises to the top, no matter what they change on as far as the rules. Ernie Irvin's right up there in front where he's been. The Chevrolets are running good. Terry Labonte's up front. I mean, these guys are up front no matter what they do.
Let me tell you what Gary Nelson said yesterday, and this is a direct quote. Our only plan is for each competitor to have a chance to win and not be held back by his car make. That is the program, to hand it to the drivers rather than the car makes. And here's what you've got. 12 Chevy wins, 12 Ford wins. That's parity.
Exactly right. Meanwhile, you see Jeff Gordon there, the 24. He is backslid all the way to 9th spot. What's the story on the pit lane?
Well, right now, his crew chief, Ray Evernham, is talking to him. Eli, we'll try to get a word with him. Ray, we hear the car's got a bad push. Did you do anything to it?
All we did, we come in, put 4 tires of gas in it. You know, it's real bad right now, so we're debating about coming in. You know, we might come in, go all the way to the back. That's how bad it is.
A push right now is the worst thing can happen. You got to take care of that right front.
Yeah, you know, we don't want anything to happen, you know, cut a tire or anything like that, so be careful.
We'll let them get back there, talking very seriously still about possibility of coming in.
There's Jeff Gordon, 7 career starts here, 2 wins, 3 top 5s, and 4 top 10. So they don't want to squander an opportunity to do well at a racetrack where they have excelled over the years. Dover Downs International Speedway, the field forming up for the restart. Meanwhile, on pit road, the day is done for Darrell Waltrip. They are pushing the Western Auto Parts America Chevrolet to the garage area. A burnt piston, engine failure there, but they are beginning another new chapter for that team tomorrow. Waddell Wilson will be joining Darrell Waltrip as general manager, effective tomorrow, trying to get things back on the fast track to victory lane, but that's tomorrow. Today, however, their day is done. Green flag is in the air. Just about 1/5 of the way through this 500-lap event.
You notice Joe Nemechek not right in front of Mark Martin anymore. He has unlapped himself. He is now at the back of the pack, but on the lead lap.
On the lead lap right now, 27 machines.
There goes Ernie Irvin by the 5 car of Terry Labonte. He's moving right on up. I tell you, Ernie's on a mission today.
Hut Strickland, by the way, okay after his accident. We should be getting a word from him in just a short while. Field standing update there across the top of the screen, brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And in Ernie's case, running and running and running. He's been doing well here today.
He runs well here anyway. In his last 4 appearances here, he's got 2 poles, an outside pole, a second and a fourth. This is a very good track for Ernie Irvin.
Derek Cope there, 29th, trying to unlap himself. There he grabs the lap now from race leader Mark Martin, and here comes Ricky Craven also trying to make himself back on the lead lap. You've got Dale Jarrett there battling with Jeff Gordon for position.
We also have a change for the lead right up front there.
Ernie Irvin works himself around, grabs the top spot away as Mark Martin found himself caught up in traffic there as those machines of Cope and Craven were busily unlapping themselves, and Ernie Irvin made a nice cool move to sneak around and just go with that line of traffic.
Whoa, Ernie's very high.
And the outside is not the place to be. Dale Earnhardt early in this race, notwithstanding, seems like you get up in that up top lane and back you go. 1 spot, 2 spots, 3 spots, whatever. Backwards you go.
But Ernie still leads there. Ward Burton got by him, you saw, getting a lap back. But Ernie Irvin taking the lead. Bobby Labonte is led. So is Terry. So is Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin. Now Ernie Irvin here at lap number 100.
Eli, Ernie Irvin is really battling that car now to hold it down. In every corner, he seems to be washing from the bottom. See this line he's running? He goes all the way up to the top part of the groove there. I think right now he's got his car set for loose, and it'll tighten up as he runs. But right now he's battling that car.
Meanwhile, if you're curious about Jeff Gordon, he is continuing the backslide. That's 14th spot now as Ricky Rudd goes by him. There's the spam can for Lake Speed. He'll try and do the same, but you heard from Ray Evernham, the crew chief, a short while ago. And although he's disappointed, I don't know if he is surprised at this particular scenario right here.
Gordon going way up on the racetrack, every lap in every turn. Can't hold it down.
Up front, here comes Martin trying to grab the lead away from Ernie after losing it a handful of laps ago. Craven goes a lap down again after having unlapped himself. 30 cars on the lead lap right now.
I think Craven moved over and let those guys go, Eli. I really do. At this point in the race, he said earlier today he did not have the best car he's ever had here at Dover. In the drivers' meeting, they were all talking about if your car is not right, give the other guy a break and then take it back when you get the car fixed so it's fast.
Eli, I'm going to change my mind about what I said about Ernie Irvan. I think the lead cars right now are taking a different approach into the corner and trying not to lean on that right front too much. They're kind of diamonding the racetrack. They're going in low, letting it wash out just a little bit, and then turning in the center part rather than having the car turned all the way through the corner. They kind of let it ride through the corner.
And you know, Ernie, once we had that long run of a short while ago, he was picking up 0.3 of a second per lap on Mark Martin and eventually got right by him. But that's a real good observation there, buddy, when you sit and watch and see how this story unfolds here. 104 laps complete. Irvan leads, Martin second, Terry Labonte third, Bobby Labonte fourth, Rick Masters fifth, Rusty Wallace sixth, then Jeff Bodine, Dale Jarrett, John Andretti, and Dale Earnhardt.
Today's coverage of the MBNA 500, presented by Gladiator Vans on TNN, is brought to you by Pep Boys. 26,000 items at the guaranteed low price. Tires and service, too. Everything but gas. And by RCA. Changing entertainment. Again.
That's a beautiful view of part of the Delmarva Peninsula, Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia, and a part of the countryside around Dover Downs International Speedway. The Duralube aerial camera giving us that view. There you see Mark Martin ahead of Ernie Irvan. That's not how they were running when we broke away moments ago. Here's what happened about 2 minutes back.
Well, you see Ernie go way high here, right in the center part of the corner. Mark turns under him as they come off. I think Ernie, this early in the race, did not contest him that tough. Watch when they go in the corner. He just kind of backs off and falls right back in behind Mark Martin.
Well, Mark Martin now taking over the lead that he yielded back at lap number 98. Here's how he did it on board with Mark Martin. How they completed the pass at lap number 109. Randy's down in Ernie's pit area.
Well, Ernie just came over the radio and said, all of a sudden, the car gets loose under acceleration. When I try to get back in the gas from the middle of the corner out, that's when it starts getting loose. The key to this thing is you can either go fast for 20 laps, faster than the other cars at the end of your tire run, or possibly be fairly consistent throughout, get beat early and maybe fix them up late. But I guess as of right now, Ernie's stuff going away just a little bit from the center of the corner back out.
Meanwhile, we told you Hut Strickland went to the infield care center. Glenn, I see he's just come out, huh?
We're glad that he is standing out here to talk to us now. Hut, obviously you're okay. What happened out there?
Well, Glenn, you know, to begin with there, we had a right front brake line get closed off on the car. And we come in there on that caution there and worked on it, got it freed up, and went back out. And just trying to work my way back up to the front there and got in too big a hurry and got up in the loose stuff a little bit. And, you know, just made a bad mistake on my part. That's really all I can say.
What about tire wear? We've seen a lot of guys having trouble already.
Well, you know, I think the biggest thing, I think Goodyear come here once again with a fabulous tire. You know, it's just a deal right now. Everybody's, you know, kind of seeing how much guessing game, I guess you'd say, is how low they can go in the air pressure. And, you know, it's you know, really undecided right now as to how low you can go.
Exactly like you said it, Buddy Baker. We're going to let Hut go. We understand they may try to get the Circuit City Ford back in the show. Right now, it's got a few circuits blown.
And old Hut was very diplomatic there, but the bottom line was guys will mess with air pressure. Goodyear gives you their recommendations. It's not a mandate. You can do, you know, you can overinflate it, underinflate it. You can run flat tires if you want to, but guys will, particularly here, knock down that air pressure to levels that could promote excess wear.
I'm going to go a little further. They recommend like a 50-pound tire pressure in the right front. Well, you have about 10 pounds of air pressure buildup, so they say let's start out with 40. Well, recommended is 50. You let the tire down, it gets a lot more grip. The heat builds up, and then you have a problem with the tire.
118 laps on the board. You've got 5th, 6th, and 7th spot right there. Bobby Labonte, Rick Mast. Got Rusty Wallace, Jeff Bodine. All battling for position. Taking you a little further back, you see on the top of the screen. Interesting to note, John Andretti in the 98 car. He's running 9th. Jeremy Mayfield in the 37. He is running 35th. Now you see the 98 right there. That is now John Andretti. It seems as though that car has, throughout the course of the year, run better than the 37. Now the driver change comes about, and that continues to be the scenario. There's Andretti again running in 9th now in that machine, and Mayfield in the 37 back in 35th position. There's Bobby Labonte. That's 1.9 seconds behind right now. That battle for position. Rick Mast thought about making the battle. That's about a second and a half, nearly 2 seconds behind Terry Labonte, who's running 3rd. That'll give you an idea of how they're working on the racetrack. Terry Labonte's 3rd. There's Bobby and Rick Mast. And just 2 seconds back.
I wanted to show everybody the new paint job on Rusty Wallace's car. They're celebrating 25 years of being in racing, Miller is. And it looks to me like they forgot to paint the front. I'm sorry.
Letters can be addressed to Buddy Baker, Charlotte, North Carolina.
I think you're going to see a lot of that paint job before this day is all done and over with. Rusty Wallace is an absolute master here at this racetrack. His strategy for today, take it easy at the beginning. He said he just wants to stay in the lead lap, stay around the front somewhere. And he said, well, 125 laps to go. He said, then you're going to really see what that car can do.
And that's their Bristol car, which of course is a concrete racetrack. That's the Snake, they call it. They named that car in honor of the Snake Prudhomme, Don Prudhomme from NHRA drag racing. We were talking about Jeremy Mayfield there, already a lap down, being bypassed by the 11th place runner Ricky Rudd. Earnhardt behind him. You've got Brett Bodine. He's on the lead lap in 13th. Ted Musgrave right next in line. He's on the lead lap in 14th spot. Up front, Mark Martin took the lead at lap 109. Hasn't been able to get away from Ernie. Stays right there with him as Mark Martin looks for his first win of the year. Still, we're fairly early here at Dover. Folks, you know it well, Opryland, the official destination of NASCAR. For more information on Opryland USA, you can call the number you see on the screen, 615-889-6611. That phone line operational Monday through Friday. Get all the information. Of course, they've got their big Christmas celebration coming up. It's a good time to visit Opryland USA, the official destination of NASCAR. With Dr. Dick Bergman, Buddy Baker, Glenn Jarrett, Randy Pemberton, and the entire TNN Motorsports crew, I'm Eli Gold. Glad you're able to join us. There's a good overhead view of turns here at Monster Mile, Dover Downs International, riding with Ernie Irvan in 2nd spot. And you were telling us during the break, and it's a good observation, watch where he's running in comparison to races past here.
Okay, watch him in the center part of the corner here. He's almost 2 lanes higher than they used to run. They make a nice apex as you see him going down the front straightaway here. As he turns into one, he goes right to the bottom. Now watch him go way up the racetrack. Now he'll turn back and come right back down and apex down low coming out of the corner.
1.1 seconds behind the race leader. That's what Ernie Irvan is right now, as the folks from the Duralube aerial camera giving us this fine overhead view. Now look ahead, 1.1 seconds. There's the leader, Mark Martin, just going towards turn number 1. So that's the spread on the racetrack. There's Mark right there. And there you see Ernie Irvan. That's the spread on the back straightaway. 132 of the 500 laps complete. Elsewhere, good battles. Dale Earnhardt, Ricky Rudd. That's 11th position right now, up for grabs. There's Dale going a little higher than everybody else. And here comes Brett Bodine. That's for position. Give him 12th if it can make the move around Ricky Rudd.
Brett is auditioning for a new sponsor. He's lost Lowe's. That's going to go over to the Childress team. Mike Skinner is going to be driving for them next year. Says he's pretty close to getting somebody. He's got several good companies looking at that number 11 race car for Brett Bodine for next year.
That ongoing battle there. Meanwhile, there's Jeff Gordon. He's running that high groove, that buddy you were talking about, and he's running it all the way back to 16th now from the lead not all that long ago.
I don't think Jeff has much choice there. You can see he is pushing. Look at the dust coming out from behind the car. He went so high he actually got into the loose stuff on the outside of the groove there. This car is really pushing. I'm sure he's sitting there going, man, I might pop a tire anytime pushing like this.
He's also 14 seconds behind the leader, so that tells you the kind of pace that he is having to deal with now. Rick Mast in the 1, Rusty Wallace in the 2. That's 5th position. Bobby Labonte on the lead lap, just ahead of them in 4th.
Mast having a great day today at Dover. Started right up front, stayed up front.
Moving on to Butch Mock Motorsports in 1997, replacing Morgan Shepherd in the Remington Arms machine. They announced that at Bristol a few weeks ago, as many of you already know. A bit later on in the telecast, we'll take a look at some other changes to bring you up to speed on 97, but that's a good battle right there, 5th and 6th spot.
Looks like some debris is collecting on the grills. Rusty got a little bit of it there.
Yeah, I don't know if the paper plate or just some hamburger, hot dog wrappers or something. Let's take a closer look there at the front of Rusty's car. Just a bunch of wrapping papers.
Now Rusty's trying right around the bottom of the racetrack, but watch when they hit the straightaway. The upper groove up there has so much drive off the corner. He looks like he has 50 more horsepower than Rusty down the straightaway.
Keep it wound up. Use that 24-degree banking to your advantage like that. We're working lap 138 of 500. Again, across the top of the screen throughout the day, you'll see how your favorites are running.
Mast washed right up there. Rusty got right underneath him.
So Rusty Wallace climbing closer to the front right now. Where Mast went way high behind him. Just got a quick glimpse there, didn't you? See him went way, way high through the corner.
Yeah, and he got right out of it, too. He's probably thinking about what's happening here in the last few races. He's got 3 DNFs here in the last 5 races at Dover. This is a very tough racetrack, and for several drivers in particular. Dale Jarrett, 4 DNFs in his last 4 starts here.
He's got, what's he been running? Only 11, hasn't been running 11 of the last 19 races here. I mean, that's one of those monster deals at the Monster Mile, but Dale Jarrett right now solidly in the 9th position. That's your race leader, Mark Martin. He took over the lead at lap 109 most recently, and there's the Roush Grain Trust, Jack Roush. We saw Steve Meal moments ago. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Under caution here at the Monster Mile. A piece of debris on the back straightaway turned out to be a spring rubber, complete with the handle that you would use to grab onto it and pull it out from the spring. Pit stops now for the teams that are a lap down. Meanwhile, Randy, down on the pit lane, Mark Martin lost the lead to Terry Labonte.
Yeah, it was just I wouldn't call it a leisurely pit stop. It was a good stop. They didn't make any adjustments whatsoever. They just bolted 4 tires on Mark Martin. He was down and away. Ricky Rudd went to the left side with some wedge trying to loosen his car up. Didn't see any wedge going in the 88 car of Dale Jarrett. Everybody 4 tires, including the 98 car of John Andretti. Talked to crew chief Tony Furr. No adjustments there. They like what they got, and he just told that kid to take it easy. Let's finish this race. We'll race at the end. Let Jarrett.
Well, Randy Donatisi and Jeff Gordon came in for that long overdue stop. He was in danger of going a lap down, well over half a lap behind. They did take some wedge, some bite out of the car. They adjusted the air pressure to try to loosen the car up. Also, Terry Labonte, his car was tight as well. They made a rear track bar adjustment. Rick Mast came in good position, had a slow pit stop, came out about 10th or 12th, I believe. Really good pit stop for Dale Jarrett. I believe he got out in 4th.
And if you're keeping tabs at home, Sterling Marlin did lead a lap during that exchange of pit stops, so he gets a 5-point bonus for leading at lap 144. At lap 145, Terry Labonte takes over the lead. Time now to check in with Ray Evernham, an innovation in motion, brought to you by Peerless Faucet. Get more out of your faucet than just water.
In NASCAR Winston Cup racing, fires are very rare. and largely due to this invention called the fuel cell. Now, in the older days, fuel tanks used to rupture being made out of metal. What you see from the outside is made out of metal, but it's only the can. Inside there's a bladder. It's made of a flexible material, so it can crush without rupturing. It's filled with sponges, and it's filled with 22 gallons of fuel. Now, there's also a safety top. It has a filler neck. That's where you see us putting the fuel through those dump cans. It's also got some safety check balls. Now, in the event that the car were to flip over, the balls would shut and stop the fuel from spilling out of the car. Fires, again, are very rare in NASCAR Winston Cup racing, and this is why.
Because Ray Evernham, a man who should know, he was involved in a fire at the Martinsville Speedway and some other tracks, and he is one who can speak very well on the subject. There you see how they came into and exited the pit lane. The lead taken over by Terry Labonte, who goes from third to first in that exchange. 145 laps on the board. Want to say hello to Mary Spurrier. She is in the Atlantic General Hospital in Berlin, Missouri, of a heart attack. Her son, Clay Spurrier, is a utility technician here on our crew in Dover today. And as we go back to green, Mary just wanted to wish you a quick, speedy recovery from all of us here at TNN Motorsports. Terry Labonte is quick and speedy right now on the restart as he pulls off. Has that buffer car between himself and Mark Martin. That's Ward Burton. Ward now trying to get himself back on the lead lap. He's in 29th and does so there. So he's back on the tail end of the lead lap. Ward Burton is in the MBNA Pontiac. Little squirrely midway down the back straightaway for some of the teams, but everybody continues on their way. See if Mark Martin's got the horses.
Mark Martin is not going to sit there very long. He seems to be very, very good off the corner. Watch him close in on the 5 as they start towards the straightaway. He's really good in the center part of the corner to the straightaway.
How about Jeff Bodine? He was running awfully well earlier, and now the QVC team is way back in 26th spot. Glenn, what happened down there?
Eli, they had to come back in for a second pit stop as traffic came on pit road, all bunched together there. Jeff got together with one of the other cars, bashed the left front fender in. They had to bring him back in to get the fender off the tire. Bad break for him, but it's a long race. He's got plenty of time to make it up.
Indeed he does. So Jeff Bodine still on the lead lap. They're looking there at first, second, and third spot.
Eli, we did have a lead change. Mark Martin is now leading the race, and Terry Labonte second, and Ernie Irvin's right there with him.
They continue to pace one another, first, second, and third. Lap number 150. Usually see a good number of lead changes here. Terry doesn't like the view from second.
Neither does Ernie. He said third's no good. I'm going to move right on up here to second. Mark Martin's a very, very patient race car driver. He knows he has a good race car. He's not even contesting the front two right now.
Terry Labonte back in the lead again. He's done just about everything this year except win a whole bunch of races. He has only won a single race, but incredibly, he has 6 second-place finishes in 1996. So Labonte has run very, very strong, even though he hasn't won a bunch of races. And to win a championship, well, a real good way to do it is put him away by winning the race.
There's Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon running there in the middle of the pack. That's 7th, 8th, 9th position. Running with John Andretti, with whom we are on board right now.
Forget with trickle spotter. Get him out of the way.
You heard the spotters talking. Oh, and there Robert Presley gets up in the marbles just a tad also.
There you go. Come on. It's high. Come on.
Leaves dropping on Andretti's spotter. Rick Mast to the inside. That's 9th spot.
Able to keep that car right on the bottom.
Clear.
Lap 154 on the board.
Boy, John Andretti is running well.
Really is in 9th position. At a racetrack where, very honestly, he'd had negative reviews in the past for that big old accident early in a race out of turn number 4 that he keyed a couple of years ago. Felt bad, apologized, but now he's got a new lease on his racing life, moving on to Cale Yarborough Motorsports.
And he's got got to be thinking about finishing too, Eli. He's got 10 DNFs in 1996 so far.
Uh-oh, Mark Martin just pulled over and let Dale Jarrett go. Dale Jarrett is on the move right now. He's already up into third place and moving in on second. All of a sudden, he's the type of race car driver, kind of like Terry Labonte. All of a sudden, there he is, and you don't know where he comes from, but he is running very well right now.
And you saw the top four as we look through the windshield of Mark Martin's machine. That's third and fourth right there on your screen. Second is Ernie Irvin, and Terry Labonte is the leader, just ahead. And as you see, not much of a spread, just 1.073. That's it right there. First, second, third, and fourth tied basically together. 157 laps on the board. Only 4 teams are out of the event here at Dover.
Trouble turn.
Today's coverage of the MBNA 500, presented by Gladiator Vans on TNN, is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And by Peerless Faucet. Get more out of your faucet than just water.
Caution flags are flying here at the Monster Mile. Just as we broke away, you heard Buddy Baker's furtive cry of trouble in turn 2. And indeed, there was a problem for Ricky Craven, who broke loose through the banking and right there smacked the wall. He's been able to drive on around. So the damage, although there was obviously some, was apparently not terminal on the Kodiak machine. But we are under caution for the 5th time this afternoon. Gary Bradbury right there, you saw him come through, and he kind of caught the wall just a bit. You know, you think about Ricky Craven. Remember that terrible accident he had at Talladega? Before the Talladega race, Craven had 4 top 10s. He was 4th in points. Since that Talladega race, he has not finished in the top 10 at all, period. End of discussion. And he's 17th in points. It's amazing what an incident like that will do to turn a team the wrong way.
Well, his luck has just gone sour too, Eli. I mean, yesterday he won the pole for the Grand National race. He led more than half of the event, and then he just got a set of tires that didn't work for him, wound up 5th in the race.
Let's go to Glenn Jarrett. He's got some updates on the pit lane.
After that last round of caution flag pit stops, we told you that Jeff Gordon made some major adjustments, and also we saw Dale Jarrett go to the front. He had a real good pit stop. Now, Dale Jarrett adjusted his car, took 1 pound of air pressure out of the right front. The car now is loose. As far as Jeff Gordon, he was complaining about it being tight and pushing like a freight train. Well, now his car is loose as well. But there's one thing to remember at a place like Dover. You can fix loose with the throttle. You cannot fix push with the throttle. So if its car's loose, the driver just has to drive it a little bit differently. Here's Randy Pemberton.
An update on one car, and that is the car of Kyle Petty's. Prior to this caution, when everybody pitted, Kyle was running about 10th, had a great chassis underneath it, came down pit road, they changed 4 tires, went back out under yellow, didn't like the way the right rear felt on it, came back down pit road, lost all those positions on the track, changed the tires again, they dropped the green. He said this thing just does not feel good. He thought he had a right rear tire going down. Now they think it might be the wheel itself. So they could be in a struggle for the rest of the afternoon. Kyle Petty's last win was here at Dover.
So that's the update on the pit lane, and the Coors Light Racing team still looking for their very first top 10 finish of 1996, something we had mentioned just a short while ago. Field is getting the 1 to go signal now, and we will be 1 lap away from going green as they come back to the stripe, working lap 162. We were talking moments ago about how a driver can adjust ill-handling race cars, Buddy Baker. What was Glenn talking about when he said you can adjust things using the throttle? How much can you feather it when you're doing 175 down the straightaway to help yourself into the corner?
Okay, push is like if you turned into a corner and it was all just sand there, the front end takes off. The only way you can stop it from pushing is to back out of the throttle and let it settle down. If you're loose, you can stay in the throttle, milk it just a little bit, and let it hook back up. But you can drive with the throttle. If you're pushing, though, you have to get out of the throttle and run very slow. You go right towards the wall when you go in the corner.
Jeff Bodine this morning at the drivers' meeting was explaining how all this push stuff works. He said you sort of start with the car working really good, and you get your hands kind of at 10 to 2. When the car's pushing a little bit, you cross them up just a little bit. He says when your arms are like the letter X, he said that's when you're really in trouble, because that X marks the spot on the wall you're going to hit.
Neil Bonnet used to say, pushing, you see the wreck, loose you don't.
Here we go, green flag in the air as Ricky Craven and Gary Bradbury, with the problems out there in the corner, have taken their respective race cars to the garage area. So 2 more retirees as Labonte pulls away. Jimmy Spencer is to his inside there. Jimmy trying to get himself back on the lead lap. He is running in 30th spot, and he can do it.
Robert Presley going back in, trying to make up a lap there, and here comes Derek Cope on the bottom. Right, these lead cars are not fighting these guys. They don't mind them getting a lap back this early in the race. His concern is right behind him, the 28 car, Bernie Irvin.
So they're all on the tail end of the lead lap. Those first 3 machines. Your race leader is the 4th guy in line. Wow. Now the 5th guy in line.
Team cars.
There goes Jarrett. And there was a little contact there, too. You might have seen, I thought I saw something fly off.
Team Yates, 1st and 2nd again. Those guys have really got their act together. They're running so well. We don't mean to beat the same drum every week, but these cars are up front every week.
Well, let me tell you, one of the things that they've got is horsepower. One of the General Motors teams said that based on the chassis dyno stuff they've seen, the Yates cars consistently have as much as 30 horsepower more than the Chevrolet-powered cars. That's both the Chevys and the Pontiacs. And indeed, Doug Yates confirmed that to me. 30 horsepower advantage. They are doing something better than the General Motors guys are.
At the top of the screen now, along with the positions, you see how far behind the leader everybody is running. Those are the numbers there, just to the right of the car number. Lap 167 on the board. Ernie Irvin.
Oh, Rusty on the bottom. Yep, Rusty on the bottom, and the 6 of Mark Martin on the top had going at it for a while.
There's old Dale Earnhardt. He's running in 5th right now.
I say, he is really flying, too. He goes so good on fresh tires right now. You see him right behind Bobby Labonte. This is looking out of Mark Martin's car towards that fight that we were just seeing for position. And Dale is really hooked up. They've adjusted that car, and I think it's really good right now.
One of the real strong suits of the Childress team.
There goes Ernie high in turns 1 and 2. Don't know if he and Spencer might have gotten together. It was tough to tell. Maybe we'll find out before long, but Ernie kicked way high up the banking.
We're saying that Childress team has an awful lot of ability to adjust a race car as the event goes on. And Earnhardt may not be the fastest at the beginning. He may not be the fastest in the middle, but watch him at the end.
He's fun to watch when he's hooked up. You see him right now. He's right on the outside of Dale Jarrett going down the back straightaway. That 3 car is hauling it right now.
Yeah, they work with Trickle as the pick, and Terry Labonte comes through working to the inside. Using traffic to your advantage and to the detriment of others.
Where is Earnhardt going to go? There's no place in the middle to go, so he waits just a little bit. He's trying to get by Trickle as they start down the back straightaway.
He kind of made himself a spot there, didn't he?
Yep, sure did.
Boy, is he high.
He's using all the racetrack, too, and that's not real good this early in a tire run. I would say as the tires get hot, he's going to move higher and higher and have some problems if he gets out of that groove any at all.
Dale Earnhardt, top 5 finishes in both races here last year. He was 3rd here in June. Of course, most recently, though, he has had trouble even sniffing a top 10 finish.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, if he doesn't muster a top finish here today, well, that'd be the 10th race in a row, if memory serves.
Yeah, no top 5 in 10 races if he doesn't do it.
He hasn't done that since, what, 1981?
Yep, July 4th to September 27, 81. 15 years since he's done that. He's
10 races out of the top 5.
Yeah, he'll finish in the top 5. He can't let something like that happen.
See Jeff Gordon there fighting with Rusty Wallace down the front straightaway. I think some of the adjustments they made on Jeff Gordon, we heard just a while ago that he was pushing real bad. He's still using a lot of racetrack, but he seems to be running quite a bit better since he had his last pit stop.
That's 7th place you're watching there. Meanwhile, Jarrett and Terry Labonte, that is 2nd place. Here comes Earnhardt. Here comes Bobby Labonte. Jimmy Spencer there. He is 32nd, a lap down in the 23 car. And there's the race leader, Ernie Irvan, just ahead of him. This could be good.
I think Spencer knows he's a lap down. He's going to let the front cars have the racetrack. He's way high. He give them room to race underneath him.
He's gotten just a whole lot more gentlemanly with the other guys out there. I mean, he just lets people have room that a year or two ago he would not ever let have room. He's gotten to be a lot smarter race driver in 1996. Speaking of smart race drivers, look at that guy in the number 5. You bet.
He's got it. Jarrett, the rear end of that car about came around on him. You just saw that rear end kick loose on Jarrett's machine. Opens up that whole inside.
There they go.
Boy, the handle's gone from the 88 car. I mean, really quick.
I mean, you could see it with the naked eye how quickly it just went away. Here comes Gordon. Glenn, what's happening to your brother's car?
Well, as I told you before they restarted, Eli, the car's loose. When somebody gets right up behind him like Labonte was, the car gets extremely loose. He just simply had to back out of it, settle it down, find a spot on the racetrack. They'll adjust it, tighten it back up a little bit, but we're seeing just how fine the line is here at Dover today. He was pushing. They took 1 pound of air pressure out. The car was good for about 10 laps, and it got real loose.
It's a science, this business is. And we're watching the best in the business do it, as Ernie Irvan now has 1 1/4 seconds of an advantage on Terry Labonte, working lap 178 of 500. Folks from the Eastern Technical High School there in Essex, Maryland, where TNN Motorsports visited the other day along with driver Gary Bradbury. On the extreme left of the screen there, you might have noticed director Gary Clem, the man who is calling the shots downstairs, modeling the newest of the TNN Motorsports apparel. It was great to see him there on screen. Michael Dranis was there, and our uplink guy, Star Catcher's own John Long. We appreciate the folks there at the Eastern Technical High School in Essex, Maryland, for welcoming all of us into their classrooms. There's Ricky Rudd. He's gotten around Dale Jarrett there moments ago to grab the 8th spot, as you saw. Ernie Irvan still shows the way. In the garage, if you're just joining us, Chad Little and Jeff Burton involved in an accident on lap number 5. They are done for the day. Hutch Strickland involved in an accident at lap number 90. Darrell Waltrip with engine failure. And then the most recent accident, Gary Bradbury and Ricky Craven. So those 6 teams out of the MBNA 500, though work is continuing on some of them. You're looking there at Earnhardt, then Bobby Labonte as we ride along with Mark Martin. That is 3rd, 4th, and 5th position. And there you see the interval between those 3. So many different lines they're using there.
I was just fixing to say, Mark Martin is still running the line that they ran here last year, and you can see Bobby Labonte is up there in the new line, and Earnhardt. You can see that they're using the higher side of the racetrack.
There's 3rd, 4th, and 5th right there on your screen. Let's move you forward now. Terry Labonte right there. He is running in 2nd, and there's Ernie Irvan just coming out of the corner, working onto the main straightaway in the start-finish line. So that was the spread from 1st back to 5th position.
All the way back from 19th. He is strong today. You know, a lot of people wondered about Ernie Irvan when he came back, and when he didn't win right away, people were saying, oh, maybe Ernie's not all the way back, and the reporters were bugging him. It seemed as if every time he showed up at a racetrack, they'd say, well, Ernie, are you 75% back or 80% back or whatever? Here's the bottom line. It only took him 28 races to win after that horrible accident in Michigan.
Of course, he won it right here on TNN Motorsports as we were with you that day in New Hampshire International Speedway. Spencer's slowing on the racetrack, but he continues away. 109 193 laps on the board as you ride with race leader Ernie Irvan. Ernie led the 99th through 108th lap and then took the lead again at 165. Now leads to this point at lap number 193. That is second, third, fourth, and fifth right there on your screen.
Boy, Earnhardt's running high. He just seems to be moving up higher and higher and higher. Shades of Harry Gant here years ago.
Remember that, but Harry rode halfway to Wilmington. I mean, this is halfway to where Harry used to drive. But yeah, he used to rim ride all the way around the highest portion of that racetrack.
Richard would do that on occasion here as well. And the amazing thing is they'd be going so much further than anybody else right up against that wall, and they'd be so fast. And look at Earnhardt. You can see it right there in that in-car shot. He is higher than anybody else, at least in this quartet of race cars.
Bob Latford, the great statistician, did a piece once, and I wish I had the exact numbers in front of me, but he was talking about the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte, comparing the guy who ran the 400 laps around the bottom of the racetrack versus the guy who ran the 400 laps like a Richard Petty or a Gant to the high side of the racetrack. It was something like a 16-mile difference or something remarkable, the extra distance that the guy in the upper groove ran versus the fellow on the low side of the track.
Wait a minute.
No, I'm serious.
This is going to be the story like if you're overloaded with chickens and you go back there and hit on the side of the truck and they fly up and you're okay to go through the weight check.
Well, that works.
I will get you that exact number from Bob Latford. That's a true story, though. He did it is a mileage difference of a significant nature from the low side all day to the high side of the track all day. Still second, third, fourth, and fifth we're riding with right there. An idea of the speed they muster here on the main straightaway. Terry Labonte leading this pack. His 530th consecutive start for Terry Labonte. Then Earnhardt, then Bobby Labonte. All of this, though, behind the race leader. Ernie Irvan comes to the stripe. His advantage on second place, 1 8/10 seconds. We're coming right back. We have caution here at Dover Downs. The race leader is out of the car. Ernie Irvan is just fine, but it looks as though the day is done for the Texaco Haviland Ford. He was leading, and this is what happened. Let's watch.
Underneath Derek Cope, just clipped him with that right front tire. Cope a lap car, trying to put him a lap down. Boom.
Looked as though as they got sideways, that rear just broke loose. Watch it again.
Eli, you see how low he is on the track. The car gets loose actually before he gets in the corner. It took the air off the spoiler, as we say, and out to the outside wall. Hard lick there on the driver's side.
Might have even gotten those left side tires on the apron and jerked the car around. There goes Mark Martin right there going by. Just didn't make it. Let's watch again on board Mark Martin's car.
We can hear him getting right out of the throttle.
Look at this.
They got to pick where to go.
Whoa.
You can see a car on the outside there. You just have inches.
Now, through all of that, pit stops have been made. Robert Presley did not stop, so he leads lap 202. But of those who have stopped, Dale Earnhardt is the race leader among those who have made their stops. So we are working caution. Lap number 202 here at the Monster Mile, Dover Downs in Delaware.
Welcome back to Dover, Delaware. Ernie Irvan has walked out of the care center from the infield on his own. Ernie, tough break. What happened out there, man?
Well, just trying to put Derek Cope another lap down, and obviously he wanted my lane more than I did.
You had an awfully good race car. This has to be really disappointing, particularly after the victory last week.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we had a good car, and we were just really trying to buy our time and put laps in, and you got to put the guys a lap down. You just can't sit there and ride behind them, and it's real easy to get somebody down on the apron.
How bad is the car? Do you know yet? Are you going to try to get back out there?
I'm sure we'll work on it anyway.
Okay, we'll let Ernie go. He wants to see just how much damage it was. He's being very gentlemanly. The rest of the crew down here is pretty hot. They just don't think Derek gave Ernie near enough room since he was the leader of the race.
Now Jeff Gordon is the leader. NASCAR having checked the exit of the pit lane, and indeed Gordon beats Dale Earnhardt to the end of pit road. See, Earnhardt has the running start on him, but you see right there, Gordon's already across the line, well ahead of Earnhardt. Didn't have to go but a foot and a half to get there, but so be it.
And that's the advantage of that pit lane.
That, of course, will be going away in future years. There's how you see numbers at Dover Downs International Speedway only. The last 7 races at Dover. There's Jeff Gordon. He's led 919 laps. Those are among the fellows who are battling, obviously, for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series point championship. That's why we zero in on them. Dale Jarrett's big old DNF column there did not finish. That stands out like a sore thumb. All right, here we go, getting set to go back to green.
Eli, another guy that had a great pit stop in 3rd place there is Rusty Wallace. He's moved right up to the front.
The restart.
Well, let's see how fast everybody is this time. Remember, each time they've gone in for pit stops, it seems to shuffle the deck. A little bit of tire pressure, a little bit of change in the wedge, or a little bit of track bar change seems to make an awful lot of difference here this afternoon, more so than usual today.
The leader, Gordon.
Wow.
Earnhardt going to hook on behind Trickle this time.
Whoa! Whoa!
Thank you. And this crowd, nobody's sitting down. Crowd just standing, looking on. Earnhardt, the new leader of the MBNA 500.
Gordon stuck on the outside right now. Martin got him on the inside. Look at him. He's just trapped there.
Ricky Rudd, they're pushing his car to the garage area. So the Tide team with problems, they are pushing Ricky Rudd's car to the garage. Dale Earnhardt leading for the 24th time in his career here at Dover.
And know what? Ricky was the other guy who had not had a DNF all year. Now they've both had a DNF in the exact same race.
He's been running at the finish of 33 in a row. Rudd has been since September of '95, a year ago.
And it started on such a lighthearted note. He just had a birthday on Thursday, and the team put a little sign on the roll bar that said, "Lordy, Lordy, Ricky's 40." And that's been on there the whole time.
Well, I tell you who's not wasting any time or birthdays either is Mark Martin in 2nd place. He has really darted up through the traffic here and took over 2nd place and gaining on the leader.
There's Dale Earnhardt. There's 2nd place Mark Martin. Hut Strickland is back. He's 120 laps down after his accident of earlier. But Hut Strickland is back on the racetrack in the Circuit City Ford. Meanwhile, in the garage area, Glenn Jarrett is checking up on some stories. Glenn, what you got?
Well, Eli, take a look at this trench that has been dug in the pavement here in the garage area. This was made when they brought Ernie Irvin's car in. They had to bring it in with the rear end up, and some of the left front suspension was broken, damage on it. It was digging the pavement all the way. That leads all the way to Ernie's car. That's how a stupid guy like me could even find the thing. Joey Knuckles with the crew told me that they didn't think they could get his car back out. It had shoved the engine back in the frame. It bent the frame. It broke some of the rear pieces. It broke the transmission. It moved the rear end. The car is a mess. They don't think they'll be able to get the car back out there. Awfully tough break. Now let's go down to Randy for the other side, the other point of view.
Well, it's a point of view that came from the cockpit of the 12 car. Derek Copa radioed his guys wanting to know what Ernie said, and so I relayed the message as far as what we had to this team, and they told me that Derek said, look, I held my line. That's all he said. I held my line, and that's the story from the 12th team.
Meanwhile, on the racetrack, there is Dale Jarrett working to the inside of Bobby Labonte. That'll be 6th spot right there, swapping around.
I'm sure he probably put a couple of rounds of bite in that car to tighten it up. Dale Jarrett was right up front and all of a sudden seemed to lose the handle. And before the end of that pit stop just a second ago, he was so loose he was going back to the pack. Now he seems to be back up to full throttle.
And speaking of losing the handle, Ricky Rudd is having trouble with the handle to shift with. There's a shifter problem on the Tide machine, and that's why they have to push it to the garage area. And certainly the crew will try and get him back on the racetrack. There goes Rusty Wallace and Gordon, 4th spot there.
Boy, it's been a long time since you come to Dover and see a car pass on the outside like that. They've moved this groove out some 2-3 lengths wider than it used to be, so they can race 2-3 abreast now around Dover.
Up front, meanwhile, it's still Earnhardt and Mark Martin. There they are, nose to tail. That is for the lead. Just joining us, Mark Martin has led three times today. Earnhardt took over the lead for the very first time at lap 208 to pick up his 5 bonus points. And nobody's the clear-cut advantage yet to lead the most laps. There's another 5-point bonus, as I'm sure the regular fans of the sport know. But for those of you who are new to the sport, Terry Labonte has led 67 laps. Ernie Irvan has led 47 laps. As now the battle for the lead again. Mark Martin took a look at it.
Eli, look at the difference in contrast of the two ways around this racetrack. Mark Martin right around the bottom, Dale Earnhardt going way wide in the middle part of the corner.
It's almost like a dirt track, for heaven's sakes, the way they're running today with the two distinctly different lines.
Meanwhile, here goes Gordon inside of Labonte. That's third place changing hands. And there's Rusty Wallace behind them in 5th and Dale Jarrett in 6th. Ward Burton is up to 7th in the MBNA Pontiac. There you see the spread from the first two to the next two. About 800 feet worth or 2 seconds. There from overhead go the first two. 2.2 seconds back. There comes Gordon. Then Wallace. Then Jarrett. From the overhead camera, you get a good view, a good idea of the separation. There goes Rusty. That's for 4th. There goes Dale Jarrett. That was easy enough.
Eli, a lot of the cars are going back to the old style of going right around the base of the racetrack, and the guys that have adapted back to the bottom of the racetrack are actually moving away from the guys that are running the high line now.
Bottom is faster right now.
Hut Strickland has now gone back to the garage, and they have retired him for the day. So Hut is now out for the day after returning to run a couple of more laps to see if there was anything left in the Circuit City Ford. There's a lot more left here. We're coming right back.
Today's coverage of the MBNA 500, presented by Gladiator Vans on TNN, is brought to you by the more than 1,425 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Texaco Clean System 3 gasolines. Add more life to your car. Take it to the stars.
That is the Dover Air Force Base as you see it from the Duralube aerial camera. Some of the C5, C5As that are housed at the Dover Air Force Base. That's right off of Route 113 and 13, which is the main drag in front of this racetrack. That is Mark Martin, oblivious to anything in the air, but he's just making himself pull away even further right now. Middle of the pack, that's 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th position you're looking at. Brett Bodine in the 11. John Andretti. Rick Mast. Johnny Benson in that mix too after a good run at Richmond. There's Johnny in the Pennzoil Pontiac. He's in 15th spot.
Eli, we have something that might just be a problem right now. Earnhardt's car has a huge piece of debris on the nose of the race car that may make him run hot. And he's falling back just a little bit. I'm not sure that he might not be having a heating problem.
We'll double check on the pit lane, see if there's any report from the pit. There you see it. Got all sorts of stuff on there. Not to mention the little pieces of rubber that we've seen building up on the grill all day. Here goes Gordon. This would be for second. There he goes, second spot. Gordon's got it. Earnhardt goes high. Randy, any report from Earnhardt? Are they seeing any overheating numbers?
Not as of yet, Eli. That piece of paper is significant, no question about it. But as we get further into this tire run and they accumulate rubber in the grill combined with that piece of paper, there could very well be a problem. But it's still early in this run. Matter of fact, that paper has just peeled away. He's in the clear.
Sure did. As soon as Gordon went by, the suction of the vacuum just pulled that piece of paper free. And that problem now has been alleviated. Mark Martin is the leader. Took over at lap 219 most recently. Earnhardt's tough. Of course, right now you look at the points. Martin, Gordon, Earnhardt, Jarrett, all in the point chase to one degree or another. Mark Martin in his own little battle of trying to win for the first time this year. There's Dale Jarrett. He's in 4th. There's 5th place, Ward Burton. So that gives you an idea of the separation between those two men. Ward having a good run today.
Yeah, he really is. He always runs good on the mile racetracks. He won last year in Rockingham.
Sure did.
With the same type of car, Pontiac, and today he's one of the toughest cars out there. Track position hadn't been great, but he is working towards the front.
We're curious about Bobby Hamilton, who finished 2nd here a year ago. He's in 21st spot right now, and that's pretty much where he has been all day. He's been in the top 20 at the back end of that top 20 in the STP Pontiac. There's Mark Martin in the interval, back to Gordon. Then next is Earnhardt. And next you've got Jarrett. So a fairly good spread right now from Martin on the clock back to Gordon. It's 1 7/10 seconds, nearly 2 full seconds. And there you see Ward Burton right there in 5th place. So you're looking at a good half lap right now from 1st back to 5th.
As for all the conversation about the new rules, and gee, they sure did take a whole lot away from the Fords. There's 2 Fords in the top 5, 2 Chevys, and a Pontiac. Parity. That's what they're looking for. That's what they've got right now.
Further back, there the Labantes, Terry and Bobby.
Have you seen the commercial?
Isn't it a great spot?
I'm telling you, those guys are clever, and it's a great spot.
I'm talking about a spot where Terry and Bobby, who are battling right there for position 6 and 7, sitting together at the Atlanta Motor Speedway and talking about who's better.
Who's the best actor? Who's the best singer?
They told me about some of the outtakes from that commercial too, which sounded as though they were as hilarious as what we got to see on screen. Bobby Labonte and Terry, of course, Terry Labonte having lost 130 points off his lead in the last 3 races. Came in today with a 4-point lead over Jeff Gordon for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series Championship. But at the front right now, it's that man, Mark Martin, who has won of 29 teams, still on the lead lap here at Dover. Earlier this morning here at the track, Jeff Gordon tried his hand at one of the NASCAR video games. He battled that man, Wesley Berlinghaus, and Wesley posted the better numbers than did Jeff Gordon in their private little competition. Wesley Berlinghaus picking up the win in video game competition against the driver of the DuPont Chevrolet. Welcome back, everybody. That is Jeff Gordon running in 2nd spot right now. Behind race leader Mark Martin, you've got Dale Jarrett having taken over 3rd, bypassing Earnhardt a few moments ago, who's now in 4th, and Ward Burton running in the 5th spot. Of course, Ward, don't forget, lapped down early. He went down a lap at lap 53, then unlapped himself on a restart, and he's now a factor here in the middle stages of the event. But Mark Martin is the leader.
This team really needs to win. It has been very, very difficult this season has on that whole Roush Motorsports group. They are used to winning races. Last year they won 4 of them. To be this deep in the season and to have not won, it definitely sticks in their craw. They are all frustrated. They all expect to win. They all demand it of themselves. And right now they are in a very good position to please themselves.
4 laps shy of the halfway mark. Gatorade Front Runner Award, $10,000 on the line at lap 250 for the participating team, leading at the halfway point of the MBNA 500. There's a good look back from the leader. There's 2nd place Gordon. Sterling Marlin is a lap down. So too Robert Presley. We'll take you all the way back on the racetrack so you'll know where your favorite is running and exactly what kind of an interval he has to deal with. Trying to get around Mayfield. There comes 2nd place Gordon. There's 3rd place Jarrett. Earnhardt is in 4th. There's 5th, Ward Burton. Bobby Labonte is in 6th. Jeff Bodine there is in 7th. Terry Labonte 8th. Musgrave is 9th. Brett Bodine is 10th. Rick Mast 11th. Lake Speed is 12th. You're picking out your favorite as they go by. 13th is Morgan Shepherd. Michael Waltrip is 14th. Kyle Petty is 15th. Rusty Wallace in 16th as we lap back around on the racetrack now to the race leader, Mark Martin. Taking you further back, you've got Johnny Benson in 17th. Andretti is 18th. Mike Skinner, about whom we've not spoken today, he is running in 19th. Kenny Schrader is in 20th. 21st is Bobby Hamilton. Others on the lead lap are Wally Dallenbach in 22nd. Bobby Hillin is 23rd. Derek Cope 24th. Bill Elliott is 25th. Kenny Wallace is 26th. And then you saw Joe Nemechek go a lap down. He will be in 27th position. We have had, if you're just joining us, 6 caution flags today with a number of drivers in the garage area. And as we have reached halfway, the mid-race update brought to you by Split Fire. Enter the performance zone with Split Fire Performance V spark plugs. And there you see 8 lead changes, or rather 8 leaders for those 15 lead changes. And the 6 cautions, the most recent when race leader Ernie Irvan found himself in the wall at lap number 200. Out of the event, Chad Little, Jeff Burton, they were involved in the early accident. Darrell Waltrip lost an engine. Hut Strickland has parked it for the day. Gary Bradbury involved in an accident. So too Ernie Irvan. And there you see the lap leaders. Mark Martin right now dominating and showing the way. And you're up to speed as Johnny Benson makes a pit stop. Johnny had been running in the top handful, as you see Musgrave going around Terry Labonte. Of course, the big event of the race thus far, Ernie Irvan was leading when at lap number 200. He was working inside of Derek Cope. Up into the wall. Ernie said he was crowded by Cope. Cope says he held his line. That, though, is the big event of the race thus far, as the lead was yielded from Ernie Irvan at that point with the caution flag. So you're up to speed. Glad you're with us here on TNN Motorsports. Don't forget, when we leave you today, we've got Ralph Shaheen and Steve Evans and Bob Fry and the crew standing by in Reading, Pennsylvania. NHRA Winston drag racing coming up as the back end of a big motorsports doubleheader here on TNN today, so stick around for that.
Robert Presley's fans, you can see him on the right side of your screen just leaving the pits. He's made 2 unscheduled pit stops, hit the wall earlier.
He's in 32nd spot. Robert Presley is. Gordon's closing in now. There he is behind Mark Martin. He's gone from 1.6 seconds behind at lap 248. Now at lap 255, he's closed it right back, so he's picked up almost all of that 1.5 seconds in the last 8 miles.
You could see Mark Martin when he come off the corner there. There's so much rubber buildup underneath the wheel wells and all on these race cars. There was a big piece of rubber come out from under Mark Martin's car and just went all over Jeff Gordon's car. So they are really using these tires hard, and that rubber, like you said, has to go somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised before the day's over. Running hot isn't a problem for a lot of the cars.
Gordon looks a little bit high in that 24-degree banking. Straightaways are 9 degrees. So no real flat area here, and Gordon makes it work. Just swings right by Mark Martin. So Jeff Gordon, after leading and yielding the lead at 207, reassumes the lead now at lap 258. So Jeff Gordon has the DuPont colors leading in the home state of his sponsoring company, DuPont. They're based in Wilmington, Delaware. Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware. Good battle now shaping up as Dale Earnhardt in 4th and Ward Burton in 5th begin battling for position. 22 cars on the lead lap here at lap 264. Earnhardt's run well, and old Ward unlapped himself, as we said earlier, after going a lap down. He's the leading Pontiac and doing awfully well, Doctor.
And didn't he come from the backyard? He started all the way in 33rd position. That's about as far back as you can go and still be in Delaware.
There you got Lake Speed. That's 9th and 10th position as he works around Terry Labonte. Of course, those Spam colors moving on next year to Mike Wallace. That announcement coming here this weekend. Hormel Foods will sponsor Mike Wallace as part of the ProTech Motorsports entry for next year. Ron Neal will be the team owner, of course, with Tom Hanley running the full season. Here comes Kenny Schrader down the pit lane. Lake Speed's car, when they lose Spam, is going to be sponsored by the University of Nebraska. That announcement coming last weekend as Trev Albert, the great linebacker now with the Indianapolis Colts, and others will be involved in the financing of that sponsorship with Lake Speed for the University of Nebraska. Going back up to Dale Earnhardt and Ward Burton. There's the spread now. Earnhardt pulling away just a bit from Ward. Burton has one victory, of course, came last October at the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham. And there you see the QVC team. Oh, Jeff Bodine, he was way back.
Yeah, well, he had to make that second pit stop early on, but I'll tell you what, he is running that bottom. Look at this. He's way down to the bottom of the racetrack. That has been the fast part of the racetrack, at least in this section of the event. Few cars are able to stay down there. Bodine has done so successfully.
Yeah, he pitted at lap 143 when that spring rubber came out on the track. Then had to come in again lap 144. He was all the way back, but his battle back, as Dick Bergman is saying. There's Ricky Rudd back on the racetrack after they pushed him to the garage with that shifter problem earlier.
And just in front of them, Bobby Labonte has moved in on the 22 car of Burton. So we're going to have some racing here, even though things are kind of quiet at the front. Back in the pack here, they are fighting it out right now.
There goes Bobby, grabbing the spot away from Ward. Against Spencer, Jimmy is not on the lead lap. He is a lap down in 27th spot. Car number 23 is. Though he's not holding anybody up by any stretch. Up front, Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin still in each other's tire tracks.
A lot of traffic in front of them, though, Eli.
That's Johnny Benson, who made that pit stop a short while ago.
Oh, are they going to split Benson? No. Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Well, you're glad. Think of what Johnny's saying.
Yeah, well, 6, Mark Martin has been running the bottom, and Gordon has been running the top. And, you know, this is getting to look more and more like a dirt track with rubber flying and guys taking all kinds of different lines. And it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Lap 272 is on the board. Dale Jarrett's in third right now. Then Bobby Labonte. There's Jarrett, the 88. And you go back a bit to the 18 machine. As you see the lead still being enjoined.
Now, this is not over yet.
No.
By a long shot.
Jarrett, meanwhile, has come from 2.7 seconds down to 1.9 seconds down to the race leader. So Dale is closing in on the front two. For the lead.
Here comes Mark on the bottom. It looks like it's a faster groove. There's no question about it. When he needs to move, he goes right by Gordon.
So from 258 to lap 273, Gordon leads. At 274, Mark Martin takes over the top spot. There's Earnhardt now and Musgrave. Musgrave starting to rumble. He's in 6th, Earnhardt in 7th.
Stay around the top 10. That's the way to run Dover. Keep the car in one piece. Don't bend that race car up. And then the last 100, 150 laps, hang on. And we're getting close to that point right now.
Brett Bodine there in the 11. He's on the lead lap also. Let's not forget him. He's run consistently. He's in 9th. Both men get by Earnhardt.
Bill Davis, who owns that number 22 car driven by Ward Burton, said that they've been fast on many occasions, should have won at least 3 races. He said our problem in 1996 is our failure to close. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon coming down pit road.
He will pit at lap 277. Caution on the speedway. Earnhardt slows. Something's wrong there with the right rear of his machine. Caution on the speedway as Earnhardt looks as though somebody got a piece of that right rear. Derek Cope blowing a tire there. And all of this happening, Gordon has to go right on through the pit lane.
Whoa, look at the right rear corner of Earnhardt's car. It's missing.
He's lost a car too.
hurry. There come a couple of the belts off Cope's machine. We'll go up high to the helicopter and see what we can learn from the Duralube aerial camera. There's Earnhardt right of the screen. Let's see what happens. There you can see something came busting loose.
I wonder if he ran over something.
Either that or a right rear was cut down, because you just saw the right side kind of like explode loose.
Yeah, well, when two of them have a flat like that, one right after another, and you see stuff flying through the air like that, I wonder if there wasn't some sort of debris on the racetrack to cause it.
We'll take another look at it real time and see what I think. You did a heck of a job saving that race car too. Watch it again. Watch something come out for the right rear.
Right there. You can see the back kind of fishtail just a little bit. Now look, you can tell where it turned loose right there. He was very lucky to hold and control that car coming out of the corner like that.
So we are under caution. Pit lane is open now at lap number 278. Randy Pemberton, you're first.
Well, we're waiting for Dale Earnhardt to come down pit road. He radioed his crew, said, guys, I just hit something on the racetrack. I don't know what it was. They were just discussing what they were going to do to this car to make it a little bit better. He wanted to pound out of the right or the left rear, and they were getting ready to pit on lap 275 or 276 anyway. So it's going to be 4 tires, work on the right rear. Glenn Jarrett, what do you got with the 24 on pit road?
Well, Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon have come in. They're pitting in the number 1 and 2 spots down here. 4 tires, some chassis adjustments. Both of them very lucky. They were on pit road for green flag stops. When that caution flag came out, they both got back out and stayed in the lead lap. Gordon down in 20.2 seconds. Bobby Labonte a much slower stop down and away. But I tell you what, they're going to be at the tail end of the cars in the lead lap, but they're very lucky. They could have easily lost the lap had they pitted 1 lap earlier, and the caution caught them on pit road.
No, typically when it happens in a hurry at the NASCAR Winston Cup race, and now they're going to have to pick up that debris. They're going to blow some of the debris off the racetrack. There's Ward Burton. He is the race leader. Or will Bobby Hamilton stay out there? Bobby Hamilton will be shown as the race leader. He has not yet pitted. And there you see what they're doing. They're sweeping the track, blowing those little pieces. Now, obviously, it's far easier to see that on a white racetrack. You also have a lot of little stuff on a normal asphalt racetrack, too. Let's remember that.
Look at this, Eli. There's a big piece of metal on the racetrack itself. I think that may be off Earnhardt.
That's either back of Earnhardt or maybe it is off Earnhardt's car. I saw a little orange there. I thought it might be Cope, but that's the other side. And there you see the crew going to work. Randy, a lot of work to rebuild that one.
Dale Earnhardt is in down here. He's called for an air hose because of that hole in the right rear of the car. He said, there is debris all through this race car. I'm sucking it in through my lungs. He said, I need to clear it out. They've given him a drink. They're working on the right rear. He's wiping his the dashboard off as well as his face, but he's nice and calm in the car. I cannot see from this vantage point how bad the damage is on the right rear, but he seems pretty calm.
Now, it's significant. If ever you've seen one of those cutaway cars to allow a fan to look inside to the rolling chassis, that's what the right rear looks like. You know, Glenn Jarrett talked with Tails early in our telecast today, and he said maybe today things will turn around for me, and I don't know.
Eli, that's a good argument for full-face helmets. Dale Earnhardt is one of the few people that does not, on a normal basis, use a full-face helmet. And I would bet today that he's got an open-face helmet. And with that hole in that right rear quarter, he's going to get a lot of debris in his face.
Well, Bobby Hamilton has made his pit stop now, so Ward Burton in the MBNA Pontiac has charged to the lead. Lap 280 of 500 in the books. Welcome back, everybody. We're at lap 282. Ward Burton is the leader. There's Dale Earnhardt coming off the pit lane after more service on the right rear. I mean, they literally, they've gouged out a huge hole, that accident did, in the rear of Dale Earnhardt's automobile. And we'll take a look at it here in just a moment. There it is. You see right there? Look straight to the middle of your screen. And Randy, you had a good view of it down there.
Yeah, no question about it.
That's the outside right through the car.
It sure is. He doesn't want that kind of air conditioning. It's certainly going to mess up the aerodynamics. But not only that, he's going to get a lot of fumes. Rubber's going to be coming in. I told you about him taking that air hose and blowing everything away from his dash and from his seat and such. But Dale is just definitely going to be breathing in some stuff here
as this race goes on, and it's going to be an ill-handling car from here on out, no doubt about it.
Meanwhile, they're still cleaning the racetrack here. NASCAR has the jet blowers out, so we have an opportunity to, again, eavesdrop on the rest of the conversation that Glenn Jarrett had with Dale Earnhardt as they talked before the race about some of his hopes for turning things around here in '96.
You never feel like that you're out of that title chase?
Well, not really. There's a point that the numbers won't add up, but right now the numbers will. And as long as the numbers are add up, we can still do it, and that's what we try to go out and do. And not wishing any bad luck on anybody, but luck's going to have a lot to do with it in a lot of terms. I mean, if Terry stays consistent as he's been and doesn't have any problems, it's going to take a real turnaround for us. But you know, it's just you know, we've had the bad luck. It's time for somebody else to have it. That's all I can say.
A place like Dover, where you come here where bad luck can jump up and grab a guy real fast. Things happen here so fast, there's not much room to avoid things. How do you approach this racetrack?
Well, approach it very carefully, really. It's a tough place to race, but trouble is a tough thing to get out of here or stay out of, and you can be riding up on a lap car and get right into it, but you know, I've been fortunate here to run good and finish good here. I think we ended up third in the spring race here, and we're looking toward a good finish here. Qualifying, I think, is a premium here, is getting a good qualifying run, try to get in the top 10 and, you know, have some of that stuff behind you, or hopefully have some of that stuff behind you. It's happened up front before, but, you know, not that many times out of 10. So just get a good starting position, go at them 500 miles and see what we can do with it.
You've always been known as a guy that it didn't really matter where you started. That wasn't a big focal point in the past. But now, with more and more competitive teams every week, there's so many good cars. I've seen a big change in your team's attitude toward qualifying this year. Well, we've put more emphasis on qualifying, I think, and just the basics and just trying to be consistent about it. And we've had better qualifying runs because of it. Was a little disappointed in Richmond last week with a brand new race car, but we know what we did wrong, and you know, you go up and test and you plan, and we got a good focus on this race and qualifying and everything, and I feel good about coming in here and turning this whole program around.
Thoughts of Dale Earnhardt. Some interesting thoughts from a man who was a many-time champion as he continues to circulate. Of course, that was before the event, obviously, as he has then got together. The bad luck still kind of hanging around. You see Ricky Craven's back on the racetrack there, by the way, and there's a look inside the race car. Look through the back of the windshield going down into the car. You can see the asphalt right there. You see? Right through the rear window. A lot of work right there, and they had to bring in that air hose. Randy told you about that. They kind of swept the race car clean as best they could. There's Dale helping them get rid of some of the garbage.
Wouldn't you know he'd want to do it rather than one of the crew members? You know, he's going to clean out his own office rather than let somebody else handle that job.
So we are under caution, lap 285. Lots more coming up from the Monster Mile. We're just past halfway in the MBNA 500. Welcome back, everybody. We continue live at the Monster Mile. TNN Motorsports, glad to be bringing you NASCAR Winston Cup racing. Lots more coming up here on TNN as our season continues. There's old Dale Earnhardt still circulating under caution after both he and Derek Cope cut tires at lap 277. They're still blowing some of the debris off the racetrack. And, buddy, you brought up a good point as Earnhardt comes down pit road again. One of the few guys, really, who just still wears that open face helmet.
Well, most of the guys out there have a full face helmet, and they're taking in fresh air from the outside, and they actually have a like a bilge pump blower that blows fresh air right into the helmet. With a full face helmet, this wouldn't be a bad problem. But you know what this is like? If you turn your hair dryer directly into your face, that's what he is going to have the rest of this race.
Oh, my goodness. There he is, just looking on, cleaning things off. You can see he's got a towel in the car. He's still trying to clean the goggles and get the area usable. Meanwhile, Ray Evernham, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, is spending a moment with Glenn Jarrett.
And Eli, he's taking this opportunity, this long caution, to catch up on his race day notes. Boy, that was a close call. You guys were on pit road when the caution came out.
Yeah,
Well, you just don't have a crystal ball. You know, it's like you're darned if you do and darned if you don't. We're just trying to split it into equal segments, and we don't want to blow any tires. He was going along there, and all of a sudden it started to go away. We were within our window, you know, and we did the safe thing to pit. You know, I don't feel so bad. At least a lot of my friends came with me.
Ray, we've seen tire wear pretty much as you expected. It's not the best, but we have to put up with it. But also, there's been a little bit of inconsistency from one set to the other. One set pushes, one set's loose. That makes your job awfully hard.
Well, you know, it's kind of like playing Russian roulette. You just hope, you know, we don't know what happened with that one set. Everything else that we put on, that the same air pressures come right back to us. So, you know, we just hope. We'll see. You know, we might try a set of scuffs later just to see, but you really don't know. The racetrack's changing too.
Okay, let's go down to Dale Jarrett's pit with Randy Pemberton.
Well, Todd Parrott, you've had a great day. You've chased it as well as most of these other teams here today, but now you've got a shot to lead this race. You're right there. It's 5 bonus points. How bad will he push it to get those 5?
Right now, I'd say Randy, he'll probably push it pretty hard. You know, we need to get those 5 bonus points because they're pretty valuable right now to us. And, you know, he's done a great job all day long. The pit crew's had fantastic pit stops, and we just kept adjusting all day long, chasing this racetrack and, you know, chasing the car. Just the rule changes that they made have played an effect here that, you know, we've had to really adjust to. But, you know, he's done a great job, and the guys have good pit stops. And our main goal today is just to finish. This guy hadn't finished one of these races here in a long time, so if we get a top 5 out of it, we'll be happy. But right now, the position we're in, we can win this thing.
Okay, there's a lot of chasing left here in Dover today. Eli?
Here comes Dale Earnhardt again as they continue to clean the racetrack. And see, they're doing some work right along the front there. Got the power drill. Almost looked as though they had handed him one of those surgical masks or something, and he threw it right back at him. I guess trying to come up with whatever ideas they can. They continue to clean the racetrack here, and we continue under caution. And there's old John Long uplinking these pictures to you. Highway transportation provided by the Cedar Ridge RV Center, Branchville, New Jersey, featuring Winnebago Motorhomes. Call 1-800-988-4884 and find out why Cedar Ridge is the choice of champions. Commercial transportation for this telecast has been provided by Ryder, the official transportation company for Opryland. Welcome back, everybody, as they are continuing to remove the little particles of rubber from the racetrack. They've made a few laps now with those blowers. On the pit lane, Sterling Marlin's in again. The whole crew's standing on the front of his car. The Kodak team on the pit lane right now as you watch Ward Burton as the race leader. Others who have been in include Dale Earnhardt. There's Sterling's bunch. Unusual style. Tough to tell exactly what they were doing, but Sterling is now being shown a lap down. They might have been fixing a shock down there on the left front of the automobile. Meanwhile, Glenn Jarrett, how are things shaping up as far as tire wear is concerned? We've not talked about that for the last little bit.
Well, Eli, like I was talking to Ray Evernham, tire wear is pretty much what they expected. The biggest thing is they've had some inconsistency. That's the reason, like Todd Parrott says, they have to keep chasing the car all day and the racetrack. These tires you see here are behind Bobby Labonte's pit. Now, there's not that many sets of them. If you look right over here behind me, these are Jeff Gordon's. Look at all these tires. Man, he's been dealing all day. Look at all the tires they got. Doesn't seems discriminatory to me. Actually, there's only 2 more sets in Gordon's pits. They just got them spread out a little more. The young lady that was sitting on Bobby Labonte's tires, you might have seen, is mad at me. I've got to run. I broke her camera. She was trying to take a picture of me. I could have warned her, man.
Well, it's interesting, you know, when we first had that piece with Earnhardt just a few moments ago in the interview with Glenn Jarrett, he talked about the numbers can work out, and indeed they can. In 1995, he picked up 245 points on the leader in the last 7 races. He came into today's race 218 down, so mathematically, based just on 95 performance, Earnhardt could close and still become the champion. Of course, stuff like this really doesn't help.
Well, just remember Alan Kulwicki, who left here in his championship year. And I remember on radio that day working, and I'm sure it happened on the telecast too. He said, well, it's over.
Yeah, well,
it's done.
He was 278 down when he left.
He said, well, it's done. And he ends up beating Bill Elliott for the championship after leaving here nearly 300 points down. So, yeah, if you play numbers strictly, it is not without precedent to see somebody come from out of the pack and win the title. 293 is on the board. Track cleanup continues. And we will continue on TNN Motorsports after this. Well, the field is getting the 1 to go signal. That's how the numbers stack up at this very moment. 3,677 apiece for Terry and Jeff. Then Jarrett would be 51 points down at this very moment. Came in 86 in arrears. Earnhardt and Mark Martin, there you see, but of course still plenty of racing to go. 205 laps yet to unfold here on what is now a totally clean monster mile, as the blowers have been out there and gotten all the little pieces of debris out of the way.
Manicured. Ready to go.
Yes. Pristine. Doctor, your turn.
I want to see what Ward Burton's going to do that Pontiac. You know, it's been a year, almost a year since a Pontiac has won, almost a year since Ward Burton has won. He's had a tough year with 10 DNFs. And look at him leading this race as they come down for the green flag.
Let's see what Dale Jarrett tries, though. We heard from Todd Parrott before. Let's see how hard he tries to get a lead here and grab those 5 bonus points. Green is in the air. Here we go, lap 297.
You see Ted Musgraves all the way up to 3rd spot there. He's running very, very well today.
Here they come. Brett Bodine running 4th. Super run for the Lowe's effort. He and crew chief Donnie Richardson, his brother-in-law.
Good day for the underdogs right now, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is. Johnny Benson's a lap down there, now on the tail end of the lead lap, I would believe, running in 27th spot. That's correct, as they work off the corner.
Several competitors have been very successful at picking their lap back up here this afternoon at Dover. Benson now trying to do that exact same thing.
Ward doesn't want to get caught in behind Benson because he wants to keep Jarrett at bay.
You see Johnny just moving to the outside, leaving the 1st and 2nd place car a good groove down on the bottom side, but he can't just roll over and play dead. He's trying to pick that lap up right now, but you can see right now Ward Burton's moving in, and right behind him there, Dale Jarrett has really turned it up.
So is Musgrave. He's running.
They work back off into the corner. Ward Burton, best finish of the year was 8th at Bristol. Behind them, 5th, 6th, 7th spot. Bodine, that's Brett Bodine, Mark Martin, and Jeff Bodine. Biding their time, still 200 laps to go. We are at lap 300 right now.
Such a long race. A lot of opportunity to mess up. If you're going to do it, you've got plenty of time to make a mistake here this afternoon.
Ward Burton leads in the MBNA Pontiac, only the 3rd race of the year that he has led. He'd only led 8 laps before today. He led 7 laps at Darlington in the Trans-South Financial 400 back in March. And he led the Winston Select 500 at Talladega 1 lap under caution. That has been it until today.
But you know, the real story has been the DNFs. He's had 6 of them in the last 7 races. They've had a lot of trouble with engines. Bill Davis, the car owner, says we've got it all figured out. It's been a whole bunch of different failure modes. And now, boy, it's all come together, at least at this point in the race. We've got a long way to go this afternoon.
Sure do. Still about an hour and 50 minutes worth of racing as far as time on the clock. If this would go according to yesterday's pace, took the Busch teams about an hour and 50 minutes to run their 200 laps. So that's what we're looking at here.
See Jeff Gordon going by Michael Waltrip there as they start down in the corner. And the 5 car of Terry Labonte, his teammate, right there with him. These guys are first and second in the national point standings. They're kind of just staying with each other all day long.
They're 8th, 9th, and 10th today.
It seems like every time we've had a picture of one of those cars, the camera widens out a little bit, and the other one is right there. They've run together more than they've run with any other cars all afternoon. Ricky Craven back in the pits again. He's made several unscheduled pit stops, hit the wall a little bit earlier.
He's 120 laps down, but that again shows the importance of these points as Charlie Presley and the boys will do whatever they can to get some points for Ricky Craven. Lap 305. Ward Burton leads.
You know, the amazing part, I thought that Dale Jarrett would just go right on by Ward Burton, but Ward Burton is really holding his own out there. He's got about a 5-car length lead over Dale Jarrett and maintaining that lead.
Let's take you from Gordon right there. 5 seconds ahead to Ward Burton. Continuing the move, there it is. 5 seconds ahead is Ward Burton.
A lot of distance on the racetrack, those 5 seconds.
Of course, Dale Jarrett right there, though, is in second spot, so they are battling for the lead. There you've got 7th and 8th spot. Brett Bodine trying to hold off Gordon, couldn't do it.
Gordon's got
the 5 cars in the pits.
Terry Labonte coming down pit road. Terry Labonte, the point leader, coming down the pit lane. Lap 307, obviously unscheduled. He was in at lap 278. Gary Dehart and the boys going to work on the left side of the car. Glenn's right there.
Well, Eli, we just ran up here. Obviously, they either had a cut tire or a vibration. Must have been a cut tire on the left side, and they wouldn't have come back in that fast. He's down and away. I'll find out from Gary Dehart just what happened.
Obviously losing a lap in that exchange. So Terry Labonte, and there is the tire in question. We'll hear from Glenn in a moment after they look things over. So Terry will backslide all the way to 26th place. 1 lap down.
Whoa.
Man, from the penthouse to the outhouse in a hurry. Glenn Jarrett, what's the story on that tire?
Eli, it's obvious that he got together with somebody because there's cuts along the sides of the tire, along the sidewall here, so it cut into it, gashed it pretty good. So he evidently made some contact with somebody on that restart. They don't know exactly who yet, but got the fender in on the tire, and that's all it took.
And there you see those cuts on the tire. Good work, Glenn. So at 3:10 now, the lead is Ward Burton, and Terry Labonte is in 26th position. We are live at the Monster Mile. That's signed for Linda P. Davis. Do get well quick, Linda.
Today's coverage of the MBNA 500, presented by Gladiator Vans on TNN, is brought to you by Rain Soft Water Treatment Equipment. Quality water for you and your family that's dependable by nature. And by Nicotrol. 6 weeks, 1 step. Take control with Nicotrol.
From high above the Monster Mile, the Duralube aerial camera giving you those views on a magnificent day here in Dover, Delaware. Magnificent for those two fellas, not quite as good for some of the others. Ward Burton had pulled away from Dale Jarrett. Now here comes Dale to close in again.
Dale was running exactly the same groove as the 22 car of Ward Burton, and all of a sudden he started running this low line, and he has really picked up about 8 or 10 car lengths on Ward Burton, and he's right there now.
And you wonder if Ward's spotter has told him to get down, and Ward says, well, I just can't. I'd like to stay down at the bottom because I know it's faster, but here it is. It's going upstairs, and here comes Jarrett.
That is the battle for the lead as you see the Napa running order across the top of the screen, brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. There may be a change in the top spot, and Jarrett needs those bonus points.
He's looking hard. I heard his crew chief, Todd Parrott, say he's going to go for it, and he sure is trying. Ward now way up.
That's all he needed. Here comes Jarrett. And that's it. Got it. 3:20 is the lap count right there. as Dale Jarrett takes over the top spot, and with it, those valuable 5 bonus points in the NASCAR Winston Cup point standings.
Burton hanging in there with second spot. Want something to cheer for this kid, Burton? Let me give you something. Well, all these drivers are negating contracts that they signed. He had a deal with Bill Davis. He had all kinds of people come in and say, drive my car, drive my car, drive my car. Davis said that Ward Burton went to him with each and every one of those offers. They talked it all over, and he said, well, maybe I got some better deals somewhere else, but I made a deal with you. I'm sticking with you.
And that is nice. In athletics, you don't see that all that much.
Not when there's money involved.
There's Jeff Bodine in 6th, Jeff Gordon in 7th. Boy, that high side, like you said earlier, buddy, it's working today real well.
It works well. The one thing that I have noticed, though, is the Fords seem to really accelerate well off the low line, and the Chevrolets, they tend to run a little bit higher line through the corner. Now, whether that has anything to do with the RPM range where these cars work the best, I'm not sure. But if you notice, all the Chevrolets are running a much higher line than the Fords.
And now let's look right ahead of them in the 75. That's Morgan Shepherd driving the Remington Arms machine. Morgan is running in 5th spot right now. And I guess we shouldn't be surprised, because Morgan Shepherd, the tougher the racetrack, the better he has done over the years. A good chassis man. He likes the challenge of racetracks. And there he is running. There goes Kyle Petty now around Brett Bodine, giving Kyle the 12th place. Rick Mast is right there behind him. Started outside of the front row. Then Jeremy Mayfield. Mayfield in 28th position, a lap down in that Kmart machine.
Mayfield working today without the benefit of Tim Brewer. Hasn't been with the car since Michigan.
Dale Earnhardt just went a lap down. Jarrett just went right by him. He's having a hard time holding on to the 3-car with the aerodynamics all messed up on it.
There is Earnhardt right there. Folks, remember, 4 of the top 5 on the running order right now have not won a race this year. Look at that. Jarrett has. Burton has not. Martin is in 3rd. He has not won this year. Musgrave in 4th. He has not won this year. And in 5th, Morgan Shepherd. He has not won this year.
Day of the underdog.
Isn't that something? Yeah, you said that earlier today. Sure did. There's Earnhardt just tuning in. He was involved in a bizarre incident at lap 277 when a tire was cut and it took out a good bit of the sheet metal. He has been scuffling ever since, as the leader is Dale Jarrett, trying to pull away here midway through the MBNA 500. 332 laps on the board here at the Monster Mile, Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware, just about an hour outside of Philadelphia. Here's Michael Waltrip in 7th spot in the Citgo Ford for the Wood brothers. Right behind him, Rusty Wallace, who, I guess under normal circumstances, Randy, Michael could probably see Rusty closing in on him. Yeah. But today's not normal, is it?
No, not normal. Earlier in the race, Michael Waltrip, he brushed the wall and had a little bit of vibration in the car. The rear view mirror, the only thing that he has that he can look back at traffic on, has broken off. They gave him some duct tape so he could try and reattach it. He was unable to do it, so he was relying totally on his spotter on the roof to try to get him through traffic if somebody comes up on the inside. He could not see anyone until they get up all the way up to the driver's side door. So he's had his work cut out for him today, doing a heck of a job. Fell back to 23rd earlier. He's now up to 7th. Michael having a good run without the benefit of a rear view mirror.
Anything like that ever happen to you, buddy? Any weird stuff like that?
Yeah, but the nice part is the radios are so good in these race cars anymore. With a good spotter, he can tell you when people are there. They'll say inside, outside, and you know somebody's there. And it really takes a lot of the problem away from being as aggravating as it possibly can be when you're out there. If the radio was to go out in the race car, I mean, you'd be pretty much at the, whoa, what's wrong in turn 1? The crowd stands up. Have a car.
Up into the wall. One car, Robert Presley, finds the wall. There he is. The Skoll machine brings out caution at lap number 337. So Robert Presley brings out caution as he tags the wall in turn number 1, and Dale Jarrett is the leader back to the yellow. Staying out of everybody's way. You can see the right front totally shredded Whether that happened prior to hitting the wall or as a result, let's take a look and see if we can eyeball it ourselves here, fellas.
Well, there's Robert Presley in the 33 there. He starts down in the turn one. You can see the tire right there. Yeah.
You can just see the whole hood bow right up.
He had no control of the car from there on, but it's a good thing he was right out against the wall. It's a good thing that happened right where it did because he didn't hit it hard.
And Glenn, we could see it easily from this side. That whole hood came up and that tire shredded.
Yeah, Eli, I just happened to hear the outer liner blow as he came by me, and then as he started in the corner, the inner liner blew. That's when you saw the hood, the fender, and everything bow up like that. But he evidently ran over something on the racetrack. It was way too early in the tire run for wear to have been a factor. So obviously he ran over something on the racetrack. But I heard it coming, man. I thought, oh no, who's this? Fortunate, like you say, he was up against the wall, Dick, and he didn't hit it with a lot of impact.
And Glenn, here comes Dale right down the pit lane, so go ahead and take us through it.
Yeah, he's right in front of me. They called for 4 tires. They're not going to adjust the car right now. We were talking a while ago when they got it loose, and then Buddy said they made adjustments on it and got it back tight. They put it just like it was when they started the race. They have tried all day on different grooves and stuff, and so far they're pretty much back like they started. So car's working well for him right now. He's down and away. Man, they have had good stops all day long.
And there comes everybody else out. So at lap 337, the lead machines making their pit stops. Still lots of racing to go as we are live at the Monster Mile on TNN Motorsports. Welcome back, everybody. And if you're wondering, yes, the TNN Salute to Motorsports will be returning in 1997. It's all set at Opryland, USA. The dates are June 25th through June 29th. And for more information, you can call Opryland at 615-889-6611. The phone line's open Monday through Friday. It's a great time. Everybody was there last year. Not just NASCAR fellas, but drag racing stars, Trans Am guys, they're all there, including Jeff Gordon. It's the TNN Salute to Motorsports coming up again in 1997. Well, one guy didn't have a particularly good pit stop. Ward Burton came down the pit lane second. He is now running in 6th, getting set for the restart. But Glenn Jarrett, how about some of the other guys?
Well, Eli, I'm just down here checking with Ray Evernham, and I'll just ask Ray right out. Ray, did you guys have to make any adjustments that time?
I couldn't hear you that time.
Any adjustments on the car?
No, we're just doing a little bit of air pressure. You know, like I said, we're playing Russian roulette and hoping we get the right tires on it at the end here.
Okay, also, likewise, for the 2 car, they had a great pit stop, both 24 and 2. No adjustments in the 2 as well. Randy?
Well, the 88 appears on the scorecard as leading, but 21 team, Michael Waltrip, mirrorless in the car. He has a great stop. He comes out 4th, and then it's back to Ted Musgrave. These guys were high-fiving. They like their stop. They've been working very hard on their pit stops. Ted Musgrave having an excellent run, of course. Ward Burton, all these guys, 4 tires. Burton back to 6th. Mark Martin, 7th.
You guys mentioned Rusty. He was 8th. He's now 3rd. You've got Michael Waltrip came in 7th, now 4th. Watch this from John Andretti's in-car. There you see what happened to Robert Presley as he went up the banking. Kyle Petty was 11th when he made his pit stop. He is now running in the 8th spot. So everybody making some pretty good advancements with the exception of 1 or 2 who went the other way around. We are at lap 340 of 500. Welcome back, everybody. Under green here at the Monster Mile. Upon the restart, Jeff Gordon is the race leader. They did say that he beat Jarrett to the end of the pit lane during those pit stops, very much like we saw earlier. Remember where Gordon has to go about 1.5 feet, 2-3 feet to get to the line, and the others have to go a goodly distance. Gordon does take the lead upon the review of that video as Roger Penske from a high atop the racetrack perch looks down upon the speedway and sees his driver Rusty Wallace now currently in 3rd.
That's neat. One of the titans of business, one of the great American success stories worth millions and millions of dollars. When Roger Penske comes to the racetrack, he goes high up there with all the rest of the spotters, and he talks to his driver during the running of the race.
Good scramble for the lead. Wallace is in 3rd. And again, from that perch above the press box in turn number 1. Meanwhile, Ward Burton gets around Michael Waltrip, so they'll swap 5th and 6th positions around.
won't take Jarrett very long to make this move back to the front, I don't think. But look at this. Ward Burton is fighting so hard, but here comes Jarrett trying to take over the #1 spot again.
This is for the lead, and Jarrett's got it right back. So from lap 338 to 346, Gordon leads. Dale Jarrett will take over the lead at 347. Ricky Craven is now done for the day. Those of you who follow the fates and fortunes of the Kodiak Chevy, 120 laps down. They have now parked it for the rest of the afternoon.
Eli, you see Jeff Gordon right up under the back end of the 88 car. Dale Jarrett, he has complained that that car got loose when people were right up under him. Gordon is inches off the back quarter panel to his car.
11 different leaders today. 11 different leaders. The Dover track record is 12 different leaders. Not lead changes, obviously, but leaders as Gordon tries to wrestle the top spot right back.
One more.
I would say Dale Jarrett said, hey, this is just a little too uncomfortable for me, this guy right up under me like that.
Meanwhile, Bill Elliott is up in the wall.
Turn 1. No flag yet. No flag. Keep going.
Listening in on the spotters as they talk in that instance to Dale Jarrett. Caution is on the speedway.
It is out. Caution is out. Track is clear. Caution's out.
So Dale Jarrett gets that instruction, and the yellow flies again. There's Bill Elliott. Just went into turn 1 and never did turn.
4-time winner here at Dover.
Bill Elliott brings out caution here at lap number 349 as he finds the turn 1 wall. Very similar to Robert Presley in result. Let's see how it happened.
You see Bill on the very far outside there. He and Trickle look like they get a little contact there.
Whoa.
Oh, and there's Sterling helps him along too afterwards. Not Sterling's fault. You had Morgan Shepherd right there ahead.
So this is an accident in progress still.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten to the first turn yet.
And never could turn it at this point.
Nope. Kaboom! Right into the sponsor's billboard. That was a brand new race car. Today was the first time ever on any kind of racetrack. They didn't even take it to a local track and try it, make sure everything worked. Brand spanking new. Well, they got it broken in now.
So Morgan Shepherd pits. There's Johnny Benson making his pit stop. John Andretti is on the pit lane for service. All of this at lap 350, 150 laps from conclusion. So the 9th caution flag of the day. Far more than the average here at the Monster Mile. We're coming right back. We are back. 352 laps on the board of the 500 here at Dover Downs International Speedway. Eli Gold, Dr. Dick Bergman, Buddy Baker, Glenn Jarrett, Randy Pemberton. Glad you are tuned in. And don't forget NHRA Winston Drag Racing from Reading, Pennsylvania. Coming up as soon as we move aside. It's amazing to think 2 of the premier circuits in this country are racing, as is always the case, within about an hour's drive or so of each other up here in the northeastern quadrant of our country. John Andretti getting set to go back to green. Now Terry Labonte, he is lining up right there alongside Jeff Gordon. Labonte is a lap down, remember, in 19th, but in beautiful position here to try and get his lap back.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens here now. Rick Hendrick owns both of those cars. 5 cars, your current point leader. 24 is in second in points. At least coming into this race. Labonte a lap down. If he can beat Gordon and stay out there, they get a yellow. He gets his lap back. It's not going to happen.
Jeff got a great jump there on the restart. You see he and Jarrett clear Labonte as they head down into turn 1.
Didn't get the jump at all.
Well, he's still near the front. I wouldn't count Tony Labonte out of this thing at all.
No, still got 147 to go, as you see.
And we've seen so many cars get lapped down through circumstance and then be able to get their lap back this afternoon. More so, much more so than we ordinarily see.
Some of the leaders going around Kenny Wallace there in the 81, the square D entry. You notice that's just square D on Kenny Wallace's car. It used to say TIC Financial there on the left rear of the 81, but Phil Martossi, the owner of that team, sold TIC Financial Systems the other day, so they are no longer on the side of the car. There's Mike Skinner in the 31 machine, very quietly running in 16th position here this afternoon.
Eli, he's getting very valuable seat time right now, and he's getting a feel for what it feels like to go 500 miles in a good race car. And adjustments next time he comes up here, he'll have his own little book of things to do to get ready for this event.
They're smart doing that here, too, because it's almost useless to try and practice here at Dover, because without this big buildup of rubber, they just don't learn anything. The only way you can really learn anything at this particular racetrack is in the race itself, because of the importance of the rubber buildup. And Skinner, right in front of the RCA car right now, is getting exactly that kind of experience.
John Andretti, with whom we are riding, is a lap down in 23rd. There come some of the other machines on the lead lap. There's Kyle Petty in the 42 running in the 9th spot. Kenny Schrader in the 25 no longer on the lead lap. He is in 27th position, a couple of laps down as Bobby Labonte goes by him. Bobby is in 10th spot. Lake Speed, he's running 11th. Kind of thought maybe today would be Schrader's day.
I keep thinking one of these days is going to be Schrader's day. I'm sure everybody in this grandstand, everybody in the garage would just love to see Kenny Schrader break out of this long slump and get back to the form everybody knows he is capable of.
Of course, Kenny Schrader's last victory coming here at Dover back in June of 1991. Back up front now with Jeff Gordon, the race leader.
I would bet you Dale Jarrett would love to get up under Jeff Gordon and let him experience how that feels when a car is 3 or 4 inches off the rear spoiler like that, because it really loosens the car up when you get real close like that.
We may get to see that yet.
Gordon's good at doing that. And Glenn Jarrett, you were talking earlier down on the pit lane about the fact that there are certain guys who can and certain guys who can't control a race car when they're right tucked up underneath somebody else. Gordon can do it.
Oh, absolutely, Eli. He may be the very best, along with Dale Earnhardt. They know that trick better than anybody. Jeff effects it as good as anybody I've ever seen. He is so smooth, he can tuck the nose right up under you. That's exactly what he did to DJ. Dale said on the radio to Todd during that caution, he said, let me catch him and try that to him. I want to show him what it feels like.
361 laps on the board. Meanwhile, Mark Martin and Jeff Bodine going for 6th and 7th.
Same as the car numbers.
Yeah, look at that. 6 and 7. Here goes Bodine.
Now it's 76.
Thank you, buddy. Meanwhile, for 3rd spot, Rusty Wallace in the 2, Ward Burton in the 22, or Buddy would add, that would be 222.
Burton got shuffled back in that round of pit stops, and want to make it clear that that wasn't really the responsibility of his crew, because Burton qualified so poorly. He was one of the last teams to get to pick a pit stall, and all the good stalls were gone, and he's way up pit road, and he just got trapped in traffic, and all those other guys simply got out in front of him. But he's back out there and motored on and still running very well this afternoon.
That is 3rd and 4th spot you're looking at.
There's Rusty right on the very bottom. Ward Burton using a lot of racetrack, but he's sticking right there with Rusty.
Some of these guys just very, very loose on the racetrack right now. Dale Jarrett is not running as well as he was a few moments ago. Meanwhile, up into the banking goes Terry Labonte as he brings it right back down off a high excursion. Terry obviously with some problems there in the Kellogg's Cornflakes entry. Went up the banking there between turns 1 and 2.
Eli, I think he's got a tire down or something. He's coming in right now.
Not a good day for Terry Labonte. Came into this race leading the points, now on pit road while everybody else speeds by to put him another lap down. He was already 1 down before this problem.
He was 2nd in the June race here. Glenn Jarrett's on the scene waiting for Terry. Glenn?
Eli, as he comes down pit road at an excruciatingly slow 35 miles an hour. The crew's going over to the right side. It will be a 4-tire change. They do suspect that a tire is down. Don't know exactly which one it is, so got to change them all 4. And you're exactly right, guys. This was a terrible day for him. He was in a position there to get a lap back maybe in that run. Now he's fallen 2, maybe 3, maybe even 4 laps down. So could be a big change in the point standings when we go out of here. got a little trouble on the left rear. He's finally down and away, burns the rubber, and no happy faces in this pit.
He will be 3 laps down, maybe even a 4th by the time he comes up to racing speed. No, it should stay at about 3 laps down, but we told you when we signed on the air at noon, Dover is one of those tracks that can really start the pendulum swinging positively or negatively. And this has just not been the day for Labonte, who has lost 130 points to the pack over the last 3 races. And it doesn't look as though that time is going to be stemmed at all here today.
They do call this place the Monster Mile. Well named. There are a lot of people who say that they come to this racetrack not to race, but to get the fish nearby. Because of all the problems that some of these drivers have had. I mean, some guys have just had a wonderful time. Look at Rusty Wallace, won 3 races in a row in 93, 94. He hasn't led a lap since then.
Buddy, is this the last really grueling race of the year? Does Rockingham match up in the stress factor, the physical, the fatigue, etc.? Or is this, from here on to the Martinsville, the Wilkesboros, you get the Phoenixes, the Charlotte, is this the last grueling race of the year?
I would say yes. It has its own character. One thing about this place, Rockingham's 400 miles. This is 500 miles. Anytime you tack another 100 miles, and of course, if you get out of the groove here just a little bit, there's a lot of marbles on the outside there, build up, tire build up. You're in the wall. If you have a tire problem, you're in the wall. So yes, this place is definitely one of the toughest places we run all year long.
We see 5th and 6th, Jeff Bodine and Michael Waltrip. There you have Kyle Petty in 7th, Rick Mast in 8th. Glenn, what was the deal on Terry's car? Was it a tire?
Yes, sir, Eli. This is the right front tire. Right here, you can plainly see it says cut. Big gash in the tire right here, about 3 inches long. That may be $1.5 million cut. It could cost him the points lead. It might be hard to get it back from Jeff Gordon or Dale Jarrett.
Good observation there. Glenn Jarrett down on the pit lane. We are at lap 372 in a race that's been slowed 9 times by caution. In the garage area, Chad Little is done for the day. Jeff Burton, Darrell Waltrip, Gary Bradbury, Ernie Irvin, Hut Strickland, and Ricky Craven all done for the day. There's the lead. There's Dale Jarrett. That is 1st and 2nd right now, as those 2 men have built up a lead. On 3rd place, Ward Burton with 127 laps to go. Coming up next weekend here on TNN Motorsports on Saturday, the Cedar Rapids 300 live ASA racing from Cedar Rapids, Iowa at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll be along with Race Talk taking your calls for the brothers Waltrip, Darrell and Michael, live from the Wood Brothers shop in Stewart, Virginia. That's coming up next Saturday. Then Sunday, the Reno Grand Prix at the Reno Hilton, live SCCH Trans Am racing from Reno, Nevada. 3 o'clock Eastern, all right here on TNN Motorsports next weekend. Hope you can join us for that.
Eli, you can see the front of the 24 car there. He's picked up a rather large piece of paper you see on the spoiler there. That's the air intake. That's where most of the air goes in the front of the car to cool it. I don't think it's enough yet to really be a problem, but 2 or 3 more pieces like that, and he could be in trouble.
Just something else to have to worry about.
Remember when last year ended and Gordon's guys were talking about what a wonderful year we've had? Can we possibly repeat? How could things be better than 1995? Yeah. I mean, they just so dominated. At this point in the season, he's won the most poles, the most races. He's got the most top 5s, the most top 10s. Is there any statistic this guy doesn't dominate? I mean, he has had another season in 96 just like the one that he had in 95.
Even the best average start, I was reading, his average starting 6.3. Yep. Just a tad at 6th spot each and every week on the average.
You know what his worst finish is when he's finished the race? 7th.
Really?
7th over the course of the year.
That's hard to believe.
382 laps on the board. Of course, that all comes after the first 2 races of the year.
Yeah, remember Daytona?
Yeah, where he finished all the way back in the 40th area.
And Rockingham, all the long faces, the refuse to lose shoots were put back in the suitcase again. People were wondering. No need to wonder.
They used to say all the time that if you win the championship, the next year you have nothing but bad luck. Jeff Gordon proving that's not true.
There's Jeff Bodine and Kyle Petty. They're 5th and 6th, respectively, with Jeremy Mayfield there in the picture. Jeremy is being shown in 25th position, a couple of laps back right now.
Jeff Bodine has been in the picture most of the day as well.
Remember when he used to hold the all-time track record here, and that was before they brought the Indy cars in for a visit and all. But in his modified, he had the all-time 1-mile certified track record at Dover Downs many years ago.
He was something in those modifieds. I was really lucky. I had a chance to see him in the years when he was winning 40 and 50 races a year in those cars, and he was just dominant.
Dick Armstrong's car. Dick passed away not too long ago.
Eli, Bobby Unser held that record here with the turbo Aussie. He ran 150 miles an hour. It's hard to believe that Bobby Labonte actually qualified faster than the Indy cars did here.
There you see the point spread at this very moment. 87 points between Gordon, the point leader, and Jarrett. Terry Labonte 89 down, and in the wall, turn number 4. That'll be Robert Presley again.
He saved it this time. That was what you call a wreck that don't hit anything, though. He was right up there and just brushed up against the wall, but didn't hit hard.
An equal opportunity wall rubber today. He was up in turn 1 earlier, now in turn number 4. Not to make light of it, but sometimes I guess you just got to take those kind of days and throw your hands up in the air. There's Rusty Wallace and Ward Burton still battling for 3rd and 4th. Lap 387 in a race slowed 9 times by caution. If you're curious about Dale Earnhardt, a lap down in 20th position is where he's running now after those problems he had back on lap 277 with the cut tire and all the subsequent damage to his race car.
Bodine now making a move. Bodine has just gotten by the 22 of Burton.
And there you see the spread all the way up to Jeff Gordon right there, having gotten around Morgan Shepherd moments ago. There you see what kind of a spread you're looking at.
Shepherd with a dented in right rear quarter panel from an earlier altercation. Gordon's car looking perfect except for a little piece of paper.
Yep. Kyle got around Ward Burton.
A lot of people,
5th spot.
A lot of people get by Ward Burton. Yeah, slowing up.
And of course, Ward led earlier. If you're tuning in throughout the course of the day, Ward led from lap 281 to 319. Now Rick Mast makes the move on Ward, who goes up the banking again. Nearly made some contact there coming off the corner.
Something's wrong there, Eli.
Yeah.
He's just not nearly as fast as he was even 10 laps ago.
You know, the car does not look that bad in the corner, though. I was looking at it. It's tracking pretty well through the corner. Don't see him fishtailing coming off the corner or anything, but he's really losing a lot of valuable time right now going around the racetrack.
Rick Maston 6th. His best finish was 9th this year at Indianapolis. So this could be a season best. Of course, Kyle well ahead of his best pace for the year. He hasn't had a top 10 all season, and he's running 5th right now.
And don't you know Felix Sabates, the car owner, is jumping up and down on the roof of that truck in the infield. Happy to see that performance.
Don't you know Robbie Gordon is also?
Yeah, since he's going to drive that car next year. Kyle's still not yet 100% from his Indianapolis crash. He said he's had some conversation with Dale Earnhardt about how you're supposed to sleep at night after having one of those big wrecks. And Kyle said after Indianapolis, he found he couldn't sleep on his stomach, he couldn't sleep on his back, he couldn't sleep on his side. Know what he did? Slept in a chair for days on end. And he suggested it to Earnhardt. Well, you know Earnhardt, how tough he is.
393 laps on the board. Meanwhile, Mark Martin is backslid now. Actually just been passed by Bobby Hillin. Put Hillin to 10th, and Mark Martin now running back in the 11th spot. Haven't heard from Mark since he led to lap 278. So in the last 120 laps or so, he has dropped now into the 11th spot.
About 45 laps since the last pit stop, so the tires have got a lot of time on them at this point.
I think it's going to be interesting here. Fuel-wise, these guys can make it on one more stop, but you're going to be looking at tires that are going to have to go 75, maybe 80 laps, depending upon when you stop. The last few laps of this race could be exciting.
You know, we were just talking about Mark Martin, and I watched him come off turn 4 just a second ago, and the back of the car went way out wide. He's a little bit loose, and Mark does not like a loose race car. He
has 10 top 10s at this racetrack, Mark Martin does. Has number 1 here. Glenn Jarrett's down on the pit lane. Let's get an update from him, Glenn.
Eli went and asked Ray Abraham how far he thought they could go. We're getting in the window now as to when they should be looking at their next pit stop. They're going to try to stretch it to 420 to 425 so that they only have to stop one more time if this goes green the rest of the way. What about you, Randy? What are the Ford guys saying?
Well, I checked with Robin Pemberton for Rusty Wallace's crew. Said the same thing. He winced when he said it, but they're going to stretch it to 420, 425. Larry McReynolds has just stopped in visiting with the 88 team, and I asked them if they can make it. They're also going to go ahead and stretch the tires to probably about the same. Once one comes in, the other guys will dive on pit road as well, but we're looking at one more stop, but most people think we'll probably see another caution or so prior to that.
Well, the first time around, everybody went 71 laps on tires. Then they went 72 laps the next time between tire stops. They then went 60 laps as we got into a series of cautions. Then they went 68 laps, so 75 will certainly be the farthest anybody's gone all today. 398 laps on the board. Glenn Jarrett, we're down to the final 100 here in just a moment.
Absolutely. Buddy, I've got a question for you. The cars are running about a second and a half a lap slower now. There's rubber on the racetrack. They've been out there all day. They're trying to stretch these things. Will they get better tire wear now?
Well, they should, because they have a better patch of rubber down there to run on. They're not running on the abrasive part of the racetrack. They do have a groove out there, but I think you're still having a lot of wear because you run so hard through the corner here.
Well, the rest of it is they've had almost, 400 miles to work on their setups, and everybody is adjusting so they get the best possible tire wear. Glenn?
Absolutely, Dick. You took the words right out of my mouth. They've been adjusting all day. They should be at the point right now that they're getting absolute maximum tire wear. They've had a chance to look at the cars and the tires under race conditions, so they should be at their best right now. That should equate to a little better tire wear, but man, it's still risky. Everybody down here's got their fingers crossed.
You're looking at 13th place changing hands right there as the STP Pontiac grabs the spot away from the Lowe's machine. Jeff Gordon is the man who's looking for the three-peat. We are in the final 95 miles of the MBNA 500, watching Rusty Wallace in third, Jeff Bodine in fourth begin to heat up just a little bit more. They're behind Jeff Gordon, the leader, and Dale Jarrett in second. Kyle Petty, season's best run, he's in fifth. Rick Mast in sixth. Bobby Labonte is seventh. Michael Waltrip is eighth. Bobby Hillen now up to the ninth spot, and Ward Burton backsliding to 10th. How about old Bobby Hillen? Ninth place here today. Best run they've had this season was 13th at Pocono back in June.
Got a quick glimpse of Roger Penske there watching his driver, Rusty Wallace, right there in the 2-car. Jeff Bodine has been worrying his back end. There's 77. That's Hillen having such a good run today.
Bobby, of course, hasn't won since July of '86 when he won at Talladega, Alabama. But this is a good, strong run for the Federal Mogul Jasper Engines team here, running currently in the 9th spot. Down to pit road. Randy has an update.
Well, Ward Burton has struggled as of late. He has a right front tire that is worn, but he doesn't dare pit because if he does, he won't be able to go the rest of the way on one stop. They're going to try and stretch it to lap 425, so I would keep an eye peeled on him. They've told him, Ward, just take it easy, take care of your tires. We're going to try and make it in one more stop. The other guy, Mark Martin, has just said they've had radio contact with Steve Neal. They're going to pit it like lap 420, so we'll see what happens. Pit stops coming up.
They're at 409 right now, so closing in on those stops. Bill Elliott is on the pit lane as there goes Earnhardt another lap down. He'll drop a couple of laps in arrears now to Jeff Gordon. Why don't we take care of another bit of business? When we come back, we'll be in position to bring you all those, what should be, final pit stops of the day. Live at Dover Downs in Delaware on TNN. We are back. Ray Evernham looking on from the DuPont pit. His stopwatch says 3 3/10 seconds. That's the advantage his driver has from first to second spot. Jeff Gordon over Dale Jarrett. From Jarrett back to Rusty Wallace in third is 4.8 seconds. Then from Wallace back to the fourth and fifth place battle is 7/10 of a second in addition. Now Lake Speed and Earnhardt making their pit stops. We saw a little smoke from behind the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet as they are in here at lap 417. We'll be seeing others making their final stop shortly. If you're just tuning in, Dale Earnhardt had problems as he cut a tire back at lap 277, took out a good bit of sheet metal in the process, and found himself dropping off the lead lap. He is now being shown 3 laps down in 24th position. Jeremy Mayfield made his pit stop. All of this at lap 418. Everybody else will have to be in shortly.
You know, just watching the 24 car go around this racetrack, he's in a mode right now that everything's working. Rusty Wallace comes down pit road.
Here comes Wally Dolan back as well. He's also in as Rusty comes to the attention of Robin Pemberton and the crew in their brand new paint scheme. Randy is waiting for Wallace to come in. Randy?
Well, it's obviously going to be a 4-tire stop for Rusty Wallace. No pit stop all day long has been as critical as this one. Do not see a wedge wrench going in the car. They're probably going to loosen up. Rusty off of the brake just a little bit. Car slides forward. Left side tire is going on the Miller Ford. Pretty good stop so far. Hopefully, no caution comes out for this team. Mark Martin will be in about 2 laps. Rusty down and away.
Actually, Mark now surprises everybody by coming in here. He'll come down at lap 421 as you see the race leader Gordon staying out. Mark Martin is in. Morgan Shepherd, Ricky Rudd, Kenny Wallace is in. All of these stops now at lap 421. Here comes Kyle. Bobby Labonte is in. Joe Nemechek, Bobby Hamilton, Ward Burton, back to Randy.
Well, Mark Martin already on the left side tire. Steve Neal works on the left front. Mark has asked for 2 rounds of wedge out. Let's loosen it up for the last stop. Mark down and away.
Here comes Dale Jarrett now. He'll peel off the banking. So too does John Andretti. All of these stops under green, lap 422. There you see the race leader, Jeff Gordon. Let's go to Dale Jarrett's stop.
Well, Dale Jarrett has said the car was loose. Let's add 1/2 a round of wedge, a 1/2 pound of air out of the right rear. They're already working on the right side. Here comes now. They go into the track bar on the left-hand side. Left side tires off. Now the exchange. Cleaning the windshield for Dale Jarrett. Critical if he can pick up a second or 2 on Gordon. It'll be great. He's down and away.
Jeff Bodine is in. Michael Waltrip is in. Here comes Gordon to make his stop. Musgrave is in. Johnny Benson will stop. Brett Bodine is in. 424 is the lap count here for car number 24, who has to go all the way to the first turn end of the pit lane to get to his stall, Glenn.
And he finally shows up. I didn't see him for a long time there. Jeff Gordon pulls the DuPont Chevy in. I've got to watch on him right now. This will be a 4-tire stop as well. They can't afford to gamble as many laps as are on the tires right now. A lot of debris on the front of Jeff's car. In fact, the hood pins look like it's a newly wrapped thing. There's so much plastic sticking to them. Left side's up now. Oh, wow, good pit stop. Man alive. 18.5 seconds. When you needed it, they did it. What a great pit stop.
So Bobby Hillen now takes the lead for the first time in 1996. Bobby Hillen is now the race leader. As in comes Derek Cope. Here comes Jimmy Spencer. Sterling Marlin makes his pit stop. We're at lap 425, and Bobby Hillen of Midland, Texas, praying for a caution right now.
Yeah, don't you know he would love to see that caution come, because he could then do all of his work under the caution flag, be in great shape.
Jeff Gordon yields the lead at lap 423. Bobby Hillen is in. And how long do they plan to stay out, Randy?
Well, they want to lead and get a little face time, little air time. They have 800 people at a picnic in Jasper, Indiana. And right then they were cheering on their driver, Bobby Hillen. They're just hoping they can catch a caution. I don't know how long he plans to stay out, but right now he's enjoying it.
Last last time Bobby Hillin led was Charlotte in October of last year. But the Jasper Federal Mogul team flying the #1 colors right now. Here he comes. Also on the pit lane is Mike Skinner. Meanwhile, on the racetrack, you've got Gordon and Gordon and Jarrett battling for a position right now as Jarrett leads him back off into the corner. And of course, that is for the lead, what with Hillin having made his pit stop that you see unfolding right now. So Jarrett takes the top spot as Hillin makes his pit stop here at Dover Downs in Delaware. A lot of smoke off the brakes as he ground to a halt. And Jarrett takes over the lead officially here at lap 428 as we go back down to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Eli, the thing that gets me right now is how much Dale Jarrett gained on the exchange of pit stops there. He was nearly half a straightaway behind Gordon before they came in. I didn't get the clock on Jarrett's stop, but I know Gordon had a fabulous one, so some ground was made up somewhere. Had to be here in the pits.
Dale Jarrett led earlier today, but has only led, according to my numbers here, about 20 laps. And indeed, that's the case. So he has led 20 laps today. The lap leader right now of record, Jeff Gordon, who would lead about 140, as we told him now. Indeed, 140 laps is what he has led to this point.
I think Dale Jarrett running in second spot at the time he started into the pits really come through 3 and 4. There's no speed limit coming in until you get to pit road, so you can gain time there. He must have had a fabulous run into the pits.
Lap 429 on the board. Let's set it for you quickly after the stops. Jarrett the leader, Gordon second, Rusty Wallace is third, Kyle is fourth, Rick Mast is fifth, Jeff Bodine is sixth, Bobby Labonte is seventh, Mark Martin is eighth, Ward Burton ninth, Michael Waltrip is 10th, Bobby Hillin settles in an 11th spot now, Ted Musgrave is 12th, Bobby Hamilton 13th, Lake Speed is 14th, Todd Bodine 15th, Wally Dallenbach is 16th, and the last man on the lead lap is Morgan Shepherd in 17th spot. There you see Jeff Bodine grabbing 5th away from Rick Mast as we check in with Randy Pemberton.
Well, talking about how Dale Jarrett got this lead from Jeff Gordon, the pit stop was not any quicker as far as the car being stopped and getting serviced. He must have beat him either keeping the car up to speed longer prior to getting it on pit road or getting back up to speed because their pit stop was 19.5.
Does this look familiar? Look at this.
Yeah,
the 24 right on the 88's back bumper. Trying to get him loose again.
Here he goes, too. He's making the pass coming off the corner. Jarrett's car is just too loose to put up a good battle.
Made it look effortless, and you hear the spotter for Jarrett saying, cover the inside. He can get there. Lake Speed, who is on a separate lap. No, he is on the lead lap at this point, was trying to get by. Meanwhile, Bobby Hillin makes the move around. Michael Waltrip, you saw there, trying to get back to the front. That was 10th spot changing hands. And let me establish that Lake Speed is a lap down. I said before moments ago that he was on the lead lap. Let me establish he is a lap down. 435 laps on the board. It should be clean to go from here. We'll wait and see if the yellow flies for any reason. A familiar sight in NASCAR Winston Cup racing, Jeff Gordon leading an event here at the Monster Mile Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware, looking for the three-peat, trying to go 3 consecutive wins, same way David Pearson did in 72 and 73, and Rusty Wallace did in 93 and 94. Laps winding themselves down to 59. We'll let you again spot exactly where your favorites are running here. We'll spot them as they come to the start-finish line and pick up your favorite as there goes the leader, Jeff Gordon. Terry Labonte just joining us. He's 27th. He will lose the point lead today. There goes Dallenbach, Bodine, Mast, Labonte, Kyle Petty with a good run in 7th spot. There comes John Andretti. Bobby Hamilton in the STP Pontiac. And we cycle back around to Jeff Gordon. Those who are not on the track, Chad Little and Jeff Burton gone with accidents today. Darrell Waltrip out early with engine failure. Gary Bradbury left with an accident. So did Ernie Irvin, Hut Strickland, and Ricky Craven. All the drivers are just fine, but their machines unable to continue.
And for those that just joined the telecast, Dale Earnhardt had a right rear tire explode, blowing the quarter panel off his car, and he's out there soldiering right now, but he cannot run with the lead cars at all.
Remember also today, as we watch Gordon and Jarrett battle for the lead.
Oh, fans on their feet.
They are watching. Here goes Jarrett. He's got it. Going up into turn number 3.
Well, here he comes, right back up. You see Jeff Gordon getting right on the back end of the 88 car. You can see it fishtail just a little bit. The Ford tends to get loose if he can get right up under him.
Lap 4:45. Dale Jarrett takes the lead. Getting set to put Morgan Shepherd another lap down in 17th spot. I was going to say, remember, if the point leader at the end of this day is also the race winner, there's a $70,000 Winston leader bonus on the line here today also. Looking at 4th, 5th, 6th positions right there. Caution, debris on the speedway. Debris on the back straightaway. NASCAR was looking for the piece of metal that they thought might have flipped up against the catch fence. It took them a moment to locate it. And we have caution.
No, can't stand it out.
At lap 4:47 for debris. And boy, as great a nip and tuck battle for the lead that was, you hate to see the yellow have to come out.
You could hear the spotter for the 88 car just say, "Do you want that round to bite out?" And he said, "No, I can't stand it out."
So with 53 laps to go, you heard Dale say,
same letters are going on the cars. What you got on now?
You heard Dale say, "Nah, just leave it," as they talk over strategies on that Robert Yates team. Let's see what happens here.
Critical stop. Absolutely critical to the outcome of the race.
Here come again only the cars on the lead lap. If you're new to the sport, only the teams on the lead lap able to make a stop here on this first lap of caution. Jarrett, Gordon, Wallace. First, second, and third, top to bottom on the screen. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, guys, I'm waiting once again for Gordon to bring his DuPont Chevy in. He comes in, and I've got the clock on him right now. This, again, will be a 4-tire stop. Now, this takes away the main worries that they had. These tires will be able to go all the way without any problems. Randy Pemberton.
Left side tires already off. Dale Jarrett's Ford. The lefts are now on. He's down and away. Rusty down and away. He beats him out. Glenn Jarrett.
And once again, I've got Jeff Gordon at 18.5, exactly the same time as the last pit stop. I couldn't tell who beat whom across the line down here. There's only 4 feet from the end of Gordon's pit space to the timeline. We'll have to let NASCAR sort it out.
So they will do just that, and while they sort out who's in first, we will break away and take care of some business with 52 miles remaining in the MBNA 500. Field is going to get the 1-to-go signal. You see Ricky Rudd peeling off to make a pit stop with 50 laps, now 49 remaining. And the field gets the 1-to-go signal. Jeff Bodine did not have a good stop that time. Bodine went in 5th, or rather 4th, and came out in 9th position. So not a good sequence there for Jeff Bodine.
Eli, the 24 car has a great advantage of stopping at the very end of pit road down there. His stops are not any better than Rusty Wallace or some of the other, but being there, he just gets right in. Hey, that's one of my drivers when I used to have a race team.
I was going to say, I wonder who's directing if Gary's out in the crowd like that. But yeah, Jeff Gordon had just about 3 or 4 feet to go from his pit stall to get across the line, and he retains the race lead here in the MBNA 500. Well, let's see if anybody can hang with him. We've not really seen Rusty Wallace in this position today. restarting in second, and as he always likes to say, he launches pretty good. Maybe he can hang on.
Well, he's going to have to launch, because I guarantee you he had the best pit stops of anybody all day long. They've made at least 2 positions every time they stop.
Riding with Elmo Langley as the field accelerates to the green.
You can almost hear Roger Penske, can't you?
Go, 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 go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this is exactly what Rusty Wallace's plan was. Just take good care of the car, get it up near the front toward the end of the race, and that's just what he's done. Now he's, whoa, look at him come.
Here he goes. Took it away from him.
That was a power move down in that corner, but that's on cold tires. You don't know what might happen later.
Randy, what's their strategy, are they saying?
I talked to Robin right after that stop. I said, Robin, did you make any changes? He said, yeah, we added a pound to the right rear. The last set was a little bit loose. I said, could you give us any reason to believe Rusty might be able to run with the 24 or the 88? He said, it's up to Rusty. I think he can.
Of course, if you're new to the sport, Robin Pemberton, crew chief for Rusty, the brother of our pit reporter, Randy Pemberton. One of many Pembertons in this business.
Absolutely. All of them good, too.
454 laps on the board.
Gordon opened up a little bit there.
Jarrett is in third. Now, the other car there, the blue and gold number 9, Lake Speed, who nearly hit the wall there, he is not only
trouble
on the main straightaway. You've got Dallenbach, Brett Bodine involved. Others spinning are Jimmy Spencer on the main straightaway. Caution, lap 456. And now...
Look at Terry Labonte. He's going to try to make up a lap on his teammate now. It's up to the lead car there to beat him back to the start-finishing line. He's not going to quite make it.
Not going to do it. Missed by that much. Pit road is closed. We have, you see there, Spencer climbing from his car. Oh, Jimmy's going right over to Dallenbach. Oh, and he's got problems with Wally.
Ooh, don't do that.
Jimmy Spencer.
Steve Peterson with him, telling him calm down.
There's Buster Auten, the man walking with Spencer. Jimmy just enraged. You saw him bound out of his car and quickly run over to Dallenbach. Spencer, Musgrave, Brett Bodine was in there. There's Wally, and Wally says...
Oh, and the conversation continues. I'll cross those two guys off each other's Christmas card list.
So, lap 456 under caution. Now, Brett Bodine, he was involved. Let's look at it again because it happened behind the leaders.
Spencer on the outside, he gets touched right there by Wally Dallenbach. That triggers the whole deal. Look at Jeff Bodine get by on the outside there. He gets hit in the back.
It was starting in front of him.
Brett
Bodine was ahead of him, and it had already started right in front of him when Spencer in the 15 got into it. I mean, everybody was all together still after that restart period.
Let's go down to pit lane. Randy is walking with Wally Dallenbach.
Well, he's obviously a bit peeved. I'll try and get a quick word with him. Wally, are you okay, and what happened?
I'm fine. I don't know. 23 gets in a wreck and takes half of us with him. Typical deal. You know, we had a good car. I think we were in the top 16 or 17. And these lap guys just, you know, they want you to get out of your way when you're lapped down. But when they're a couple laps down, they sit there and they race you all day long.
Okay, that's it from Wally Dallenbach.
So tempers just a tad short. Jimmy Spencer, in the last dozen races since we were here, has moved up 7 spots in the standings to 12th. Let's see what happens if maybe Andretti's camera can help us. Yeah, tough to tell what might have triggered it. We'll take another look here. at this point, that accident is already pretty much underway.
Look at Ted Musgrave. Wow, nowhere to go.
This front straightaway not quite as self-cleaning as the back straightaway is here.
Well, it was where it happened at. A lot of the cars really went to the bottom and stayed there, but...
Let's watch it again now.
Spencer and the yellow and purple car on the outside there. You see them make contact right there.
But see, it happened right in front of them. Just before they made contact, the 11 car of Bodine, you could see some tire smoke. He'd rubbed up against another car. So maybe...
Doctor, that was two wrecks.
Two wrecks, yeah.
Two wrecks, two separate wrecks.
I agree. Maybe we can rack it back one more time and look. But I agree with Buddy. Those were two wrecks that happened simultaneously. And we'll take another look. But Jimmy Spencer, little perturbed. Tempers are short with 41 laps to go. Welcome back, everybody. We've got 40 laps remaining, and we'll take another look at exactly what happened to discuss whether these are two incidents or what. Now, right there, you see Schrader up front. There they touch. 25 and 11 touch there. There you've got Dallenbach and Spencer. Now, did either of those guys check up maybe when they saw smoke from the 25 and the 11? You know, we'll have to find out from the guys in the garage area. But at first blush, it looks like two separate, unrelated incidents.
Hey, it was the other guy's fault.
I bet he knows.
Yeah, it's Jimmy. He's talking things over. Travis Carter there on the left of the screen. He is the crew chief team manager. That's Bobby Maston in the forefront from R.J. Reynolds and Buster Otten, the NASCAR official. Jimmy Spencer, a little bit, as we saw, upset, bounced right out of his Smokin' Joe's machine, went right over to Wally Dallenbach, and with the net still up.
He just tugged on the net, though. He didn't put it down or do anything. He got away from there pretty quick with the NASCAR assistant.
Now, Brett is still running. Brett Bodine is on the racetrack. He's got a good bit of damage to the Lowe's machine, but he's back in 27, 6 laps down, but he is running. So we are going to continue here. You can see Brett just going right by there. Pit road is going to open up now for the lead lap cars, those who might choose to make a stop here with 39 miles to go. Caution for the 11th time. There you see the Smokin' Joe's entry for Jimmy Spencer. Had a pretty decent run going today.
Yeah, he
really did. Among those on the lead lap, only the cars near the back are going to pit. They have nothing to lose. Bobby Hillen and Bobby Hamilton, 11th and 12th last two guys on the lead lap, they're pitting. There's Ted Musgrave's car, the Family Channel Ford, getting caught up. So you got Jeff Burton from Roush Racing in the garage early. You've got Musgrave from Roush in the garage now, and you got Mark Martin, who is running in 5th spot on the lead lap. So 1/3 of the hope still remains. 462 of 500 laps are complete. We're back to finish the MBNA 500 in a moment. We are back looking at Jeff Gordon, the DuPont Chevrolet, leading the MBNA 500. We do want to mention that we did make an effort and offer Jimmy Spencer airtime to explain his side of what happened, especially in light of the scathing comments on the part of Wally Dallenbach. Jimmy Spencer declined our offer to step on the air, but we do want to make it clear that we did offer Jimmy the opportunity, and he respectfully declined. Meanwhile, Ted Musgrave, who had absolutely nowhere to go, is in the garage area. Let's get his thoughts.
Well, first of all, Ted, it's good to see that you're all right. You absolutely had nowhere to go and killed that car.
I've hit worse at Dover, haven't I? That was just it. You know, I had a 3 car on the outside of me and an 81 car. And if I came through the smoke, I had the brakes locked up, but the 15 car was completely sideways right in front of me. There was just nowhere to go. And I hated for the Family Channel Prime Star car. I thought we were going to get a good top 10 out of it, but tell everybody back home, my mom and everybody, we're fine.
That's it for Ted Musgrave. Tough break for him today. He had a good run going.
For those of you tuning in, hoping to see Rick Benjamin and their race day, a mid-afternoon version today. Obviously, we are running overtime here because of the 11 cautions and fairly lengthy ones at that. If time permits, prior to the start of drag racing, you'll be seeing race day. But we are not going anywhere. We got to bring you the finish of this one. 36 miles to go.
Just before this last wreck, Rusty Wallace looked to be the car to beat. He pulled right up on Jeff Gordon. Will he have it now after this little pit?
Green flag is in the air. 35 miles remaining.
Well, look at Lake Speed get in between them. Rusty did not get a good start at all.
Lake Speed, the first car a lap down in 13th. Mark Martin in 5th. Man, they get down the
I was just looking at that speed shot. 175 miles an hour. These cars run down the straightaway here. They are really getting around this place. What a great racetrack to come and watch a race. You see the stands are still full. Nobody's left this event.
I know. We had a quick glimpse of Bobby Labonte there. He is currently running in the 4th spot. He was the pole sitter today. A good ways back from the lead, but in 4th.
Lake Speed there is second on the track, but he is not in second place. He's a lap down. And you see Rusty right now losing valuable time to Jeff Gordon, who's leading the race at this moment. Look at Dale Jarrett come up though.
Jarrett just waiting, but let's get the interval for you from first back to second now, already 7/10 of a second. And the factor here, too, is with this restart, it's going to be many, many, many laps before they start lapping the cars again. So Gordon's got himself a pretty comfortable, clean racetrack with which to race.
We had a report from the pits that Rusty Wallace had a problem with the, when he started to accelerate, something was wrong with the carburetor, and it kind of gagged on him on the start there, and he got a terrible start.
He sure did. 32 laps to go. He's got a lot of distance to make up, and he's not gaining any ground at all with Lake Speed in front of him, that lap car.
Wally Dallenbach, meanwhile, comes out of the garage after repairs to the Hayes Modems car.
Whoop, trouble.
Trouble up in the corner. Oh, a big fire underneath the Derek Cope entry as he comes to a stop, as you see.
Caution is out.
Caution at lap number 471. As the Badcock Furniture car has problems, though clearly Derek Cope okay.
And Lake Speed went by at 24. Did he do it in time?
I'll have to double check. There's Derek Cope shaking up just a bit. Very honestly, didn't see what started that incident. Car just broke loose up there.
Eli, you can see the right front corner is completely mashed in on that car, so he hit very hard, apparently in turn 3 over there.
He'd already hit the wall one time earlier today.
And Derek Cope was involved in that same caution with Dale Earnhardt back at lap 277. They weren't involved together, but that was 2 incidents under the same yellow flag. So at lap 471, we remain under caution. This one for the 12th time today. Derek Cope from Spanaway, Washington. He'll get the ride to the infield care center. That is mandatory if you tag the wall in a NASCAR Winston Cup track. And we'll get an update on Derek here shortly, but clearly he looked okay. We'll take a look now from John Andretti's car. Maybe he can shed some light on what happened to Derek Cope.
In front of you. Good job. Way to go.
Through.
He was on fire before he hit the wall.
Yeah.
It was as if something happened in the right front corner of that car.
So under caution, lap 472. They'll have to clean up from the Derek Cope problems. This race rolls on here in Delaware. We are back at the Monster Mile. 474 laps complete. Let's take a look again at Derek Cope's deal, buddy. It almost looks from one angle that there was a flash of flame before he even broke loose. Watch here as he climbed the banking.
Well, you're going into turn 3 here. You can see just up ahead there. You'll see him
right there,
fan out. Yeah, there is definitely fire there. I think what he did is a tire went away on him, and he went up like that and knocked the fitting off the fuel pump and started that fire.
Yeah, but he had a problem before.
And also, yeah, that's what I'm saying. When the tire blew out going in the corner, that made him go up the hill.
We've seen that a few times today. One more look. There he is. Tags the wall now. And the flames become far more evident at this point. Field now getting the 1 to go signal, so we are 1 lap away from going green at lap 475. Randy Pemberton is in the garage area with Derek Cope, and Derek looks to be a tad perturbed.
Well, he certainly is. I don't know what happened, but our TNN broadcaster and crew chief Larry McReynolds came back here and got into it with Derek Cope. Walked up, pushed him, and Cope was in his face, Larry was in his face, and they were fixing to go at it. And a couple of NASCAR officials stepped in. Cope said, "I'm going to tear you up," and Larry walked away.
Now remember back on lap 200 when Ernie Irvan went into the wall, he was right alongside Derek Cope. Remember that? Remember that? They were together, and we heard varying reports as to what happened. Ernie said one thing, Derek through his two-way radio said another. I bet you that's what it was, dating back to lap 200.
We need to get to the end of this. The tempers are getting pretty ragged out there right now.
We've got Dr. Dick Bergman here. We might need Dr. Ferdy Pacheco before it's over.
Yeah, I'm only a psychologist. I can't do anything about these problems.
Jimmy Spencer back in the Smokin' Joe's car. He's still ticked.
Yeah. Going to be 25 laps to go. Basic Saturday night shootout.
All right, let's see if Rusty Wallace can hang with him this time, whether that blubbering carburetor gives him problems again on the start.
He didn't get a great start, but much better than last time. You can see him. He's just behind Jeff Gordon. Good start down into turn 1. Rusty got a great start that time.
And importantly, he's not going to have to deal with that lap car of Lake Speed either. He's got the leader right in front of him, and that's all he is going to have to deal with, and that makes his job a whole lot simpler.
Rusty Wallace, a 3-time winner here, won them both in '93 and, excuse me, the September race in '93 and both in '94. So he is already a three-peat man here at the Monster Mile.
Watching Jeff Gordon, he's awfully strong. He's pulled out about a 3-car length lead over Rusty Wallace as they go into turn 3. You can see Dale Jarrett closing in just a bit on Rusty Wallace in second.
Chevy and 2 Fords, top 3 spots.
As far as the point men are concerned, the point leader coming in, Terry Labonte, is now being shown 4 laps down in 22nd. Jeff Gordon, the number 2 man in points, is leading the race. Dale Jarrett next in line is in 3rd place. Then Dale Earnhardt is backslid to 14th position, a couple of laps down. There you've got Hillen in 10th in the 77 car. Jeff Bodine in 11th in the QVC number 7. You've got Bobby Hamilton right there in the mix too in the STP Pontiac. There goes Bodine trying to grab 10th spot. Does. And Hamilton will motor on by as well. There's Mike Skinner. Skinner is being shown a couple of laps down in the 20th position.
Well, he's done a solid job today. One of the reasons he's in 20th is he just went into the pits. Did a little work on that race car to try to make the run to the checkered flag. Last year's NASCAR Truck Series champion.
Jimmy Spencer is just pulled from the garage area. He is back on the racetrack. Meanwhile, 5th place, Mark Martin. He's got Rick Mast behind him. There you see the Hooters entry.
Eli, we're going to have a race down here in just a few minutes between the first 4 cars. Bobby Labonte has moved in quite a bit as we see Rick Mast fighting with Mark Martin as they come off turn 2 there, but up front is tightening up just a little bit. All of a sudden, Bobby Labonte has become a player.
Martin 5th, Mast 6th. It's neat after all these miles of racing. Look at how close they are at the end of the event. And now it is up to the drivers. Let's see what they can do.
2.7 seconds from first place back to fifth, rather to sixth, behind Mark Martin and Rick Mast. Caution on the back straightaway. Problems as Robert Presley again has problems. Caution is out. And that is going to be number 13. I think appropriately unlucky number 13 for Robert Presley as he brings out caution at lap number 484. He was in the wall back at 337. He tagged the wall the other end of the speedway also. There's Ward Burton. He's running in seventh. His crew chief, Chris Hussey, has just been named the Western Auto Mechanic of the Race Award winner. So our congratulations to the entire Bill Davis racing team. Ward led today from lap 281 through 319, but then kind of faded just a tad. But Chris Hussey, very talented young crew chief, the Western Auto Mechanic of the Race.
Pretty good mechanic to take a car that starts 33rd and put it in the lead.
There's Robert Presley. The smoke began to billow from the Skull Bandit coming out of number 2 corner. And the 13th caution of the day. 15 miles to go. We'll have another restart and another chance for Rusty Wallace if he can get by Jeff Gordon. Welcome back, everybody. Under green, we have just gone back to work. Jeff Gordon, the leader. Rusty Wallace right behind him in second. We're down to the final 12 laps of racing. Here goes Rusty.
Rusty looked to the inside, but look at the drive. The 24 car gets down the straightaway.
It was a quick caution after Robert Presley's problems. I'll tell you, Rusty's going to drive the wheels off that baby, trying, that's for sure.
And so is Gordon.
Yep.
They're both going to reach as deep as they possibly can.
Gordon's running a very, very good line, though. He's taking a little bit of that lower line off the 2-car of Rusty Wallace. When they go through the corner, he's not running way up the racetrack like he was. He looks in the mirror, you see him come back down there, taking that spot away if Rusty was to try to make the move.
10 laps to go.
He has been running a lot higher on the racetrack than he is now. Rusty dropping back some.
Gordon looking for his 8th win of 1996. And remember, with the win, he would also take over the point lead and win that $70,000 Winston point bonus.
Dale Jarrett's doing a great job today running in third. Everybody says he don't finish at this racetrack, but look at him now running in third spot and actually gaining on a 2-car Rusty Wallace.
Of course, his best has been 29th, Glenn, in the last 5 Dover races. He's got to be tickled today.
Well, they are in one sense, Eli, but a lot of long faces down here right now. This set of tires is a little tight. He needed about a 30 to a 40 lap green flag run before he caught up to these guys, before they came back to him. Right now, the car is just too tight. He's pushing it as hard as he can, but I thought he might have something for him, but like I said, got a tight set of tires this time.
Joe Nemechek, you saw the problems. Debris on the track. Caution. Caution. Joe Nemechek has problems there and has left a good bit of debris behind him in turn 4. There you see it. There's no way you could have overlooked that. So Joe Nemechek to the garage, and that'll be caution number 14 here today at lap number 493.
And they get another chance at another restart. Wow. And Rusty's got to be thinking about that carburetor and the problems he has had restarting. He has not had a really good restart in the last several.
This is going to tie us for the most cautions in this race. There were 14 cautions in 1993, 14 here today. Here's again what happened in Nemechek.
See the tire go flat straight up the hill. You can see parts of the rubber on the tire flying all over the place. He hits the wall and starts down the front straightaway. He was very lucky he could hold it where he was at.
The track record for cautions was 16 back in 93, the first race of 93. But this event record has been tied. We're right there at 100 laps of caution now. And now we're also within the last 10 laps of the race. So NASCAR has that 10-lap rule. If you're new to the sport, we'll remind you that it will be a single file restart now, only among the teams on the lead lap. So those on the lead lap will only start up front. And that's coming up next. Ralph Shaheen and Steve Evans, Bob Fry. If you listen carefully, they're all clearing their voices even as we speak. They'll be taken to the airwaves at the top of the hour. The Pioneer Keystone Nationals for the NHRA Winston drag racing efforts. There's Joe Nemechek. Tough way to end his afternoon. 6 laps in the finish. And that's what's coming up for 1997. No change among many. Rick Mast, of course, moving on to Butch Mock's entry. John Andretti's already moved. Morgan Shepherd to start his own team. Derek Cope, some questions whether there's going to be a sponsor there for Bobby Allison to continue. Lake Speed with the University of Nebraska as the sponsor. Is Ricky Craven moving to Schrader's team? Kyle wants to start his own team. Just to look at what's going on towards 1997 as this silly season is now underway. Loy Allen, don't know what will happen with the Health Source team. Robbie Gordon going to the number 42. Nice to have the program concessions come Daytona, because there'll be everybody buying the numerical to see who's who.
And the t-shirts, you got to get all new t-shirts next year.
Silly season starts right after Daytona, it seems like, anymore. And right now there's going to be a lot of changes, but most of the good teams are sticking together.
Steve Grissom was on an interview on a local Birmingham television station the other evening and indicated he has pretty much got something put together. But Glenn, he was hesitant, at least on the interview I saw, to come out and say anything publicly other than to kind of really let us think he's got something put together.
I saw him on pit road just, I don't know, well, might have been 5 hours ago. How long have we been here? It was sometime today I saw him, and he told me he did have a deal put together. He could not elaborate on it, but that it is with an existing team. So we should hear something. I asked him when the announcement would be made. He just grinned, shook his head, and walked off. So he can't say any more than that. In fact, I probably said more than he wanted me to.
But it'll be good to see him up there. And here we go, getting set to go back to green. It'll be 496 on the board now. Green flag. Again, single file restart. Lead lap cars only at the head of the field.
Jeff Gordon come down there, kind of lagged the brake a little bit, made Rusty back off a little bit, showered down on it. Great start.
He's done a great job in every one of these restarts.
Gordon looking for his 8th win of the year and his 3rd in succession here at Dover Downs in Delaware.
Eli, look at the first 6 cars here. It's going to be a race right down to the checkered flag here. These guys are really going at it. The first 6 cars are nose to tail.
Remember early in the race when Gordon drifted back, and you might have wondered what's going to happen. Is he in trouble? That crew never gave up. Gordon never gave up. And here he is in the lead as this thing winds down.
2 laps to go.
Looks to me like Dale Jarrett's moving in there in 3rd spot. He's giving Rusty a hard time as they start down towards the back straightaway. You see Jeff Gordon coming down through there. Dale Jarrett is there.
Of course, Gordon says, have at it, boys. Jeff pulls away. Coming to the white flag. The final time around the Monster Mile. Jeff Gordon trying to grab the NASCAR Winston Cup point lead from Terry Labonte. The $70,000 Winston leader bonus. And be a 3-peater here at Dover Downs. Goodness, that team is good. His 17th career win. Jeff Gordon from Pittsboro, Indiana wins it. Rusty Wallace 2nd. Jarrett is 3rd. Bobby Labonte comes home in 4th. Mark Martin will finish 5th. Rick Mast comes home 6th, and there you see all the way back to Bobby Hill, and he'll cross the line in 12th spot here today. 500 miles in the books, and the 13th Chevrolet win of 1996. Jeff Gordon starts 3rd and wins the MBNA 500. We're coming back. We're going to Victory Lane, then right up to Reading, Pennsylvania. We'll be there for drag racing next on TNN.
Today's coverage of the MBNA 500, presented by Gladiator Vans on TNN, has been brought to you by Texaco Clean System 3 Gasolines. Add more life to your car. Take it to the storm. By the Miller Brewing Company, proud sponsor of the Miller Racing Team. We race for beer. By Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. And by Nicotrol. 6 weeks, 1 step. Take control with Nicotrol.
It is all over here at the Monster Mile. Jeff Gordon just now getting out of his car in victory lane. Let's go down to Glenn Jarrett. Glenn?
And a victorious Jeff Gordon climbs out 3 in a row here at Dover, but the last 50 miles looks like it took forever, all those restarts.
Well, it sure did. I'm just really thankful. I'm just really thankful to have a good car there at the end. I want to thank God, certainly on our side again today. I want to thank DuPont Automotive Finishes. This is their hometown. Nothing sweeter than to win in their backyard. Quaker State, Goodyear Tire had a great tire today, and Coca-Cola, all our sponsors. I mean, this is just a great day for this whole team. They did an awesome job.
Well, he said everything I was going to ask him, so let's go back upstairs.
All right, Glenn, our congratulations. Meanwhile, after the race ended, there was a confrontation between Michael Waltrip and Kyle Petty, and they had gotten with each other as soon as they got out of the race cars. They got together again. The officials were there. Obviously, Kyle wanted to walk away. Michael wanted to explain his side. They finished side by side, 8th for Kyle and 9th for Michael Waltrip. Time now for the Pit Crew of the Race Award, brought to you by the Miller Brewing Company, proud sponsor of the Miller Racing Team. We race for beer. Back to Glenn.
Well, as is customary on TNN, we give the Miller Pit Crew Award. When they win to the winning crew chief, it's Ray Evernham, and man, you got to build a whole room in your house to hold all these things.
Well, I'm able to accept these for the guys. You know, I got to thank God first because he's the one who allows us to do this, but it just says an awful lot about this team. We got behind a couple times today, got that one set of tires that was funny and had that caution when we wanted to pit, and these guys fight back, and Jeff Gordon is just a phenomenal driver, and we knew we'd keep messing with that tire pressure until we hit the combination, and finally it was good at the end. But we're awful lucky to have that little guy driving this race car.
He certainly did a good job. Everything's funny now, nothing but smiles here in Victory Lane. Congratulations, Ray.
Ray Evernham and the fellows winning the Miller Award. Also the RCA Pit Strategy Award, brought to you by RCA, changing entertainment again. All the post-race honors going to the DuPont team. A quick look at the finishing order for you. Jeff Gordon, of course, picks up the win, his 3rd in a row here. And there you see the top 10, including Bobby Hamilton, who came home in the 10th spot. The point standings will be led by Jeff Gordon leaving here today. We'll mention that race day, normally seen today at this hour, will be on at midnight Eastern time. But we are out of time because they are staging right now in Reading, Pennsylvania, the Keystone Nationals NHRA Winston Drag Racing. For Buddy Baker, Dick Berggren, Glenn Jarrett, and Randy Pemberton, I'm Eli Gold. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again next week with more, but right now stay tuned. NHRA Winston Drag Racing from Reading, Pennsylvania, next on TNN. So long, everyone.